guess we're really starting the meeting here, just a study session. Welcome to your City Commission study session. Please turn off or silence all cell phones during the meeting. Meetings are available for viewing on YouTube. First item on the agenda is the 300 Santa Fe Affordable Housing Project Letter of Support.
You guys, gentlemen, you can come up here. So I'll fill in quickly for Penny, who's been the lead on this. Penny is out with having an operation. They're here to present to you all a request for the Helmers Flats building, 300 Santa Fe, the Beazles building, I think people tend to call it that as well.
Yeah, Basil.
Basil's, excuse me. They are part of, and they'll explain it to you, but they are from KCATA. And then we also have, I believe, a representative from the Prime Company on the phone. Is that correct? Chris, you still with us? Maybe?
There he is.
There he is.
Hello? Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. He is the representing developer, and then KCAT represents, obviously, the organization. Gentlemen, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, Brian, introduce yourself.
Yeah, please.
Brian Starr, Director of Community Development Real Estate for KCATA.
And good evening, I'm Michael Riley, Director of TOD and TOC for KCATA, Transit-Oriented Development and Transit-Oriented Communities.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. So thank you for the opportunity to, talk to you about our part in this new facility or proposed facility and what we are considering, our START consideration. START stands for Sustaining Transportation and Reinvestment Together. This is a program to help provide more density along transit corridors in order to allow the ridership to have access to housing, job access, education access, and healthcare access. So before we get started on what START is and why we're doing what we're doing, I would like to just take a quick second to talk about KCATA's foundation and how we're able to do what we're doing.
Okay.
So KCATA was created by a bi-state compact back in 1965. But back in the 60s, there was a lot of federal legislation coming through that was trying to make sure that everyone had access to the American dream. Access to a good job, great housing quality, access to education and healthcare. That became the 4 pillars of TOD. So when Congress was setting up these new grand pieces of legislation to make sure that everyone had access, they sprinkled that into our bi-state compact so that we can ensure our ridership has that access as well. So within our bi-state compact, it mentions how we are supposed to ensure that we're in cooperation with planning efforts so that when we design our system for transit, it's allowed for access to everyone to have equal access to everything. Especially the 4 pillars of TOD, which is the 4 areas that I mentioned earlier. At this time, I'll have Brian talk a little bit more about the START bond and how we facilitate it in our developments around the Kansas City metro area.
So when KCATA began exploring its legal authorities, which go back to the compact, we're trying to stitch together a system in a 7-county, 2-state environment. And the challenge is there is no direct funding of KCATA for its day-to-day operations, yet we have communities growing and we have communities that are dealing with challenges. And transit really depends on the ability to connect populations of residents and workers to places of service, whether it's access to education or healthcare, housing, or jobs. And as we began exploring, we realized there were many tools that we had not fully utilized. And chief among those was the ability through both Missouri and Kansas to operate in an environment that allows us to do conduit bond financing. And most of you are probably familiar with industrial revenue bonds. Mm-hmm. So this is very similar to an industrial revenue bond. In effect, we work with the private sector, could be the public sector, but the private sector that takes on credit financing, debt, and equity positions to advance a development that we establish whether it does or does not meet our policy requirements. And then if it does, it goes through a series of steps. Michael and I can go through that in more detail. But essentially, we wrap the entire financing package in a conduit. It's a paper transaction. And in exchange for being willing to do that, the Board of Commissioners, of which recall, Mayor, you were on there. It's been a few years, but this mechanism adopted back in 2021 allows us to create transit-oriented development and transit-oriented community development outcomes. We work actively with multiple communities in both states. We've done facilities in Kansas City, Kansas. We were approached by city staff to explore this in the Prime Development Company. And really our first question was, yes, we have the wherewithal to do this, but we specifically and narrowly gated ourselves that we don't try to take the place of local economic development or even regional economic development. There has to be a key transit component, of which you have one that's been started in Leavenworth, and we're anxious to look at how we explore that and expand it. And the development group that's behind this project had offered the ability to help do that with facilitating payment for a single vehicle, perhaps more, if it's justified, of transit access, consider it transit on demand services for the residents. Did that answer the
Yes.
question of the conduit?
Yes.
Okay.
And then that leads us to our consideration of the Helmer's Flat facility. We were able to go through our process to evaluate how it could provide more density, what transit improvements can be done for the region to better benefit connectivity in the region. And that's where we were able to offer the developer Prime Development Group a 30-year bond at a property tax exemption of 75% to offer 115 units of affordable housing, in which the Prime Development Group would then provide for, as Brian mentioned, a transit van to expand the micro-transit ability in the region. So during this consideration process, we have, it goes through our Economic Development Committee. It goes to our full board for consideration. And at this moment in time, we've went through our committee, we went through the full board for the first consideration, and now we're in a cooling down phase to make sure that we really want to partner with the Prime Development Group for this facility. But in that process, we wanted to reach out to community partners like the city, like the school district, to see if they would be supportive of this facility as well. So this morning, we were able to speak with Dr. Adams with the Leavenworth School District to share what we're trying to do. And he shared that he would be willing to support the facility based on it bringing density and more of a population growth potential to the school district.
Yes.
I might just add that we've done 13 of these facilities. There's 3 specific public hearings. There's one that happens at our committee meeting. Even prior to going to committee, Michael and I do an initial review with the developer before we take application. We then meet with the Development Advisory Committee, which are constituents that are really third party to KCAT that look at and weigh the merits of what's being proposed. And then if it advances, we end up taking it to the committee, which we did that last month. So this month will be the second public hearing at the board level, but it was preceded by a committee public hearing. 13 of these facilities have been advanced and approved. And give you some sense of scale, I think today we're in excess of $600 million worth of financing that we've approved. It does not affect what KCATA does day to day. It's not our debt. We're just financing the process just like cities do when they issue industrial revenue bonds. They on paper own the asset, but through a sale-leaseback mechanism, whoever the debtor is, the company, the creditor is making those payments, and at the end of that bond term, it expires. In almost every single case, I can't think of an exception, whether it's affordable or it's mixed income or it's market rate or an office to hotel conversion, we've seen across all of those facilities, even with exemptions, a 13-time increase of pre versus post-development revenue for the local host jurisdiction. In this case, it's a little different because Kansas does have special consideration it offers for affordable housing. We've offered 25% non-exemption, so 75% would be exempted. And we haven't dialed in on the final number, but as we look at what the state has considered, because we are a federal designated entity, it's not just a compact, it's a federally designated compact. Our authority should trump what happens in the state. We're really, in effect, creating an interstate commerce mechanism for people to have access to public transit. So we think the merits of this will hold true like we've seen with every other facility that we've approved. And we typically don't get involved unless we can definitively identify transit.
So that transit, is that just for this building, or will it just be added to our fleet?
Add it to your fleet.
Okay.
So when you say property tax exemption, does that you're providing, does that mean that for 75%, does that mean that this building will only pay 25% of the increase in property taxes to the city, and 75% of it will be exempt?
Yes, and where we're different than other entities, you're capped and can't set certain levels under different authorities except for star bonds. Ours raises when reassessment's done. So over the course of 30 years, it will continue through reassessment to increase, and the developer will continue to pay a proportionate share of that 25% that is non-exempted. So it raises over time, where a lot of organizations keep it flat, and it stays flat during the duration of whatever the exemption is.
Okay, so it is 30 years.
It is 30 years, and
Okay.
we've gone that route because in almost every case, affordable housing is so challenging to get financed in the first place, and the merits of it still bear out financial benefits to the community and the jurisdiction. In almost every case that we've looked at, we've even taken off the table doing a financial analysis, because in almost every case, states are doing their own financial analysis before they even decide to participate, or local jurisdictions. So if this was a market rate facility, we would require the developer to pay one of 3 designated parties to do a financial analysis to make sure that the facility is not earning more than it should based on market rates of return. Affordable housing rarely makes a market rate of return.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So does the county and school board have to approve this? Because it's a property exemption? They don't?
No, because we're federal.
Okay,
Quasi-federal organization.
interesting.
But we'll also collect the impact fee for the first 10 years as well.
Yes, sir.
And that's something that's very different about this program. This impact fee is a way for us to recognize host jurisdictions wherever there may be, Kansas City, Grandview, the city of Leavenworth. There are impacts that happen, and you ought to receive a benefit specifically because you're trying to accommodate usually some massive density. And in this case, it's not a lot of people, but maybe there's sidewalk enhancements. It's for your discretion to choose how to use. We don't put any limit on it. Maybe you want to participate in helping to advance something specific to policy outcomes of this facility. And that's something that, as Michael and I have done this, everything we do relates to a policy measured outcome. And we can track lots of metrics related to these facilities, but this isn't really anything intended to just help a developer get something done. Is this supported by the city? Is it supported by the county? Is it supported by the school district? Is it supported by residents and local jurisdictions? And that's why we're here today, to find that out.
Is it something where, do we believe that the 25% plus the impact fee that we will get probably outweighs or will outweigh as the value grows, whatever property tax that building?
No, this would be
Okay.
a significant reduction for the
Okay.
city over that 30 years. I mean, there's no question, this is well beyond what staff would recommend. From a normal project that staff would recommend for you all to approve. Obviously, there are other circumstances here that would add to your consideration. The expansion of the RIDE LV program, which I know the city commission is really looking to do. And also the fact that this building has applied for other tax credits in the past, and even though it had a strong case, it didn't get approved for those. So then the question remains, well, what higher bar can they clear in order to get approved for some of those things? This may be the only program available. No, the city will lose money on this, for sure.
Do we know how much?
It would be in the course of millions over 30 years. But I don't know the actual number, but.
We could take a look at what you've had paid historically. One of the questions I would pose, as opposed to a new development, we do a lot of finance, design, build from the ground up. This is a 100-plus-year-old building. It has very limited reuse. And what you're stuck with is, how long does this building last for whoever the owner is? And we just got through financing a project that was a 20-year-old vacated hospital on 31st Street in just south of downtown Kansas City that the police and fire wouldn't respond to because it had such desperate
You know where that
circumstances.
is, yeah.
And they had to assemble a lot of property. And somebody should have stepped in before us, but they didn't have the tools.
Right.
And when we did, they now have a $130 million investment. They're gonna have 400 residents. So this is not for every application. It's really designed to fix solutions that you might not otherwise achieve without the use of this program.
If you choose to pursue this, you're making this decision to help improve the city's housing situation. This is not a financial decision from the city's perspective.
And our transportation.
Correct, and that as well, yeah. So, I mean, the studies are clear that the solution to the housing crisis in this country is more housing. And so,
Right.
And
of
affordable
all
housing.
levels.
Affordable housing, yeah.
Affordable housing.
So, that's, I mean, if you are making that decision, that's the benefit you are going to be providing to the city. You will not be providing a financial benefit to the city.
Well, I think that's, the additional revenue we get from people being in here, buying things, shopping. There is gonna be some additional financial benefit, I think, as we grow the city as well. I mean, we've got to do something. Why the 75% over the 30-year term and not like a tiered down approach?
So, I'll respond to my observation. There are organizations that do a tiered approach. The challenge is once you receive LIHTC funding, and this is a development that's gonna get LIHTC, they are fixed at what they can charge in terms of rent escalation over the life of that LIHTC. So in most cases, we just got through refinancing a LIHTC facility that had run its useful life of 20-plus years. It was fully depleted. They had to do a complete rebuild of the entire facility and move residents out and move them back in because the states will not allow for what they consider to be an unreasonable level of rent increase to accommodate reinvestment in the facility. So the developer on the front end has to figure out what's gonna go out and what's gonna depreciate and when does the roof have to be replaced. 30 years seems to be the right number that we found, and subject to KCATA, we might reevaluate it, but it's not here to be a negotiating tool. It's really, affordable housing is a very unique category, and market rate is completely different. And we don't do 30-year market rate.
Right.
I'm familiar with LIHTC, I didn't realize that.
In fact, I think legally, the last time we made this change, our requirement was we could be no less than 27 years in order to meet with legal parity of the LIHTC program. So when we looked at it, there really wasn't much of an incremental difference going out to 30, but we felt it could ensure longevity of an asset being invested.
Any comments from the Prime Company? From Chris?
Chris, you have any? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of muffled here, but I thought I heard maybe some discussion about just the taxes and then the economic viability and then et cetera. Yeah, the reason that there's the 30 years on it, I don't know if they explain that, is because that coincides with the tax increment financing. And so if we can't have 30 years, we basically can't underwrite it into our pro forma. And so that's why we need the 30 years for it. And then, yeah, I mean, this is a way to basically redevelop the Elmer's building. If we don't go do a tax credit deal there, I think it's highly unlikely that the building will ever get redeveloped.
Yeah,
And so,
I think that's probably true.
my argument would be is that, yeah, we're basically building affordable housing that's predominantly financed through federal tax credits as opposed to, other potential city funds. And, the current, I guess, tax basis on the building, I would argue is not as great as the potential gain in just the redevelopment, the jobs, and then having high quality housing.
Right.
that's why it has to be 30 years. I couldn't really hear if that was explained clearly or not. But.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you.
Do we need a consensus tonight, or do we need?
So, yeah, we'll need consensus from you all to basically allow the mayor to sign the letter of approval, or letter of support, I guess, and that would essentially be the city's support for this project, and they would go from there, is my understanding.
Yes, sir.
So there would not be an additional action?
No, because I mean, well, I think technically, I think since they're a federal institution, they don't need the city's approval. It's just by policy that they come and ask for it. Is that my understanding of that? So this is by the city saying, we're okay with it, then they've met all their legal hurdles and they can run with it from there unless you guys have anything to.
You do have one more action before the board. The board has, our KCATA board has to reconsider it for a second time.
Right.
And it's our
Okay.
next public meeting, which would be next Wednesday at noon. So once it's considered at that next public meeting, then it's fully approved. But yes, we have at least 3 public meetings for people to, share their support or concerns before our committee and our full board.
And our county commissioner's on that board, right?
Mike Steven,
Mike
correct?
Steven is on the
And
board.
he voted yes.
For the first consideration,
For
yes.
first
And then
consideration.
we're keeping them up to date on the support and if we're seeing any opposition, so that he's aware of
Yeah, we
what's
didn't know if we
going on as
needed to
well.
be there. If he's,
Yeah, do we need to be there?
If you want, come on down, but yeah, he seems pretty supportive,
That's good.
especially of
I
the
think
outreach that
he
we have.
is, yeah. I think he is. Okay. Anything else?
Any thoughts?
How's this gonna expand the ride LV? Is it gonna go further, like to Legends, or is it gonna just stay Leavenworth?
It's gonna add an additional bus, and I think we can determine how we wanna use that bus.
We need it.
I know,
We
so
are-
Lansing wants to expand,
Lansing wants to expand, and we're working with them to try to help them do that as well.
and Fort Leavenworth has expressed
They're-
interest in
they're
adding a
talking.
stop, so I mean, there could be a
Well,
couple
this
options
just
for
gonna
that.
help even more with that.
It would be nice. It would be nice to be
Yes.
able to link in with the rest of ATA in Kansas City, It would be really nice to do that and to the airport, so.
And one of the
That-
things.
that's something
Eventually,
I'd like to see
yeah.
happen.
And one of the things that, we can't promise it, but when we're involved, because we are receiving federal funds and state funds, it allows us to go after special allocations. So CMAQ funds are often used for programs that support initiatives like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And we talked about this at the county a little over a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
How do we expand access? Because public transportation is very expensive, and it's all subsidized, like 90% of it. And we're just now bringing back fares, so instead of thinking 40-foot bus, let's think about things that are more cost efficient and mobility friendly, and that's where we could scale that. We do fleet leasing on vans and for van pool. So as we think about how this could work, you can even get sponsors. You can get grocery stores, pharmacies. We've done this before. Banks, clientele like to have those people come in as patrons on a scheduled time, 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Well, I'm good with you signing it, Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have a consensus?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll sign the form and,
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you very much.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, commission gave consensus, I'm going to hang up on you now.
Bye, Chris.
I'm sorry, hey, say that again?
Commission gave approval, so we're done, I'm gonna hang up on you now.
Okay, super, thanks, man.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Hey.
Oh, goodbye.
I mean, you did
Goodbye.
one, so.
You did.
All right, next item on the agenda, discussion of proposed resolution and timeline regarding employee organizations.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate your patience on this as we work through this. We are finally at the point where we can really start this process, I think, with your consensus on this. I have, myself and David Waters, our city attorney, have had a bunch of conversations both internally and with Kansas Department of Labor and with the city of Lawrence. You all had directed me and David to approach this by modeling after the Lawrence's model. So we met with Lawrence and kind of went over what their process is, things that they do that they like, that they don't like. I'll walk through all of that with you. So they do everything by resolution. So that gives you all the final say every time that a new negotiation or discussion happens, every time a new contract is agreed to. You all sign off on it, and you have the final say. In theory, you can say yes or no to anything that is proposed to you at every single time that it comes through. So that's why Lawrence likes that model, is that the governing body gets to say yes or no every time. That differs from PURA, which is the Public Employer-Employee Relations Act, which is a statute that is provided by Kansas. It is an optional statute that the vast majority of communities that do have employee organizations in the state of Kansas use PURA instead. It is not required. We did have that conversation with the Department of Labor, and I will get into that in a minute, but the person we spoke with, at least, obviously they could not guarantee that a new governor coming in may change things, but they said at the current moment, the Department of Labor in the state of Kansas would not have any issue with the city of Leavenworth doing what Lawrence does now. And they would also assist us if there were any needs for third-party mediators, anything like that. Department of Labor would still provide those resources. So that was no hurdle. I met with the Lawrence city attorney that's primarily responsible. His job is to negotiate these things every single year. He was very kind enough to meet with me and kind of walk through things. I put together just a list there of the pros and cons, and these are kind of based on his observations of their system. I want to clarify, it is not an exhaustive list on everything that could be good or bad about this process. This is just his pros or cons based on the Lawrence model. I'll run through the pros first, then run through the cons first, second. He thought the pros were, obviously the city can adopt its own set of rules unique to its needs. Doesn't need to comply with PURA and fit a square peg into a round hole. He told me that it's actually shown to drive up wages citywide, not just among the employee organizations. I would note that was one of my main concerns, was that the city would get out of sync with any employee organization that we had in terms of salaries and wages for our employees, but it turns out it's actually the opposite. These employee organizations tend to drive wages and salaries citywide, which certainly is a good thing. So, city leadership often extended citywide employee benefits preemptively to avoid complicated discussions. So again, instead of getting out of sync with benefits with employee organizations versus non-employee organizations, the employee organizations tend to drive the bus on those benefits. And they tend to get approved sooner because the governing body doesn't want to get bogged down into complicated fights and conversations over it. Again, final decision and approval lies with the city commission. It's shown to decrease the number of vacant positions in those affected departments. And overall, he believed that their model would still be preferable to adopting PURA. So then cons. He said it very clearly requires more administrative work than the PURA process. It required them to hire additional full-time staff to manage the labor discussion process, including attorneys. Even under 3-year memorandum of understandings, Lawrence effectively still must negotiate wages and benefits every single year to meet the demands of the economy and job market. So they sign 3-year contracts essentially, which on paper say it's a 3-year contract, but they're renegotiating every single year anyways. Mm-hmm. Requires over a dozen meetings annually between the city's negotiating team and each employee group. They have 6 employee groups, so 6 times 12 meetings every single year. Opens the door for political implications and outside involvement in elections. So in theory, an outside group could throw money into a local election and impact it. And then finally, the grievance procedure takes significantly more time for employees governed by an employee organization versus those that are not, because it has a more long-term outlined process. So those were just kind of the pros and cons again of that system. That just wanted to share that with you. So then just kind of their process, their discussion cycle for employee organizations goes from April 1st to July 1st every year. If they can't come to an agreement, and every year they do not come to an agreement, then they end up at what's called an impasse. And again, they effectively are an impasse every year. That is largely due to not being in sync with their budget calendar. And so they don't meet specific budget deadlines, which they have to continue to move forward on, so they end up at impasse. They have to hire an independent fact finder to mediate those discussions. Again, Kansas Department of Labor provides a list of approved fact finders and offered that they would be willing to do that with us as well. And again, the Department of Labor had no issue with our proposal. So after discussions with David, David Waters, and then also one of his partners, who's also named David Wing, has been helping me in these conversations. They recommend that the city establishes what's called, or what they're calling, a preparation group to consist of city manager, fire chief, human resources director, and one city commissioner to make some decisions prior to actual negotiating with any employee organization. I should back up. In terms of the resolutions that we approve, the city, if this process goes all the way forward, and we get to the point where we have employee organizations with the city, you will first adopt a resolution, which the proposed one is in back there, that outlines the city's process for negotiation with an employee organization. That resolution does not officially award or approve any employee organization. It merely states how the city will have those discussions, what the process will look like, et cetera. Once that resolution is approved, then the city may enter into discussions with employee organizations, and then each employee organization that is elected and goes through the discussion process with the city and reaches a agreement on a contract, or whatever we called it, each organization will have its own resolution. So say we have the fire department, the police department, and truck drivers, or whatever, then you would have 3 separate resolutions for each organization. So then, anyways, the things that the city attorney thinks that the city should resolve prior to starting these conversations, to define manager, supervisor, confidential employee, and professional. Designate recommendations for which employee classifications will be included in employee organizations. So what level of supervisor essentially, and what pay scales would be included. Gather and review current wage scales and pay policies and practices, staffing and hours policies and practices, fringe benefits policies and practices, and other policies and practices concerning working conditions for the department employees who will be in the employee organization. Review Local 64 Memorandum of Understanding with the UG and the current Local 1596 Memorandum of Understanding with the City of Lawrence, and identify key comparisons from them to the City of Leavenworth's policies and practices. Essentially, make sure that we are conforming it to fit with the city's needs. Review existing memoranda of understanding between any other governing bodies, fire departments, employee organizations, etc. as needed. Identify other city representatives to be included in future conversations or discussions with employee organizations. Refine any other definitions or policy conflicts that may arise during the preparation group's meetings. Looks like I left a word off there, I apologize. So those are the 7 items that the city attorneys recommend that this preparation group comes to a conclusion on prior to adopting the first resolution. So with that information in mind, we did draft a proposed resolution that's on the back page there for you to review. That is from the City of Lawrence. The City of Lawrence's base resolution that our city attorneys and I have gone through and adjusted to the best of our ability to meet City of Leavenworth's needs and requirements. We're not recommending that we approve this just yet. Just wanted to show you what it would look like when we get to that point, and then some of these items may change based on the conversations of the preparation group. Proposed timeline. So this is, I admit, a bit of a dart throw. So what the Lawrence city attorneys had made very clear to us is that even their process every year is lengthy. If we are starting from the beginning, they made it very clear that they should expect this should take some time. And so, especially if we're going to do it right. So this is just an estimate. This is more just to allow a framework by which we can observe the progress of this and just keep an eye on things. Some of these things may go quicker than we think. Some of them may take longer, but we'll be sure to keep you up to speed as we go. But generally, this month of May to the month of September, we would plan on the preparation group meeting and resolving the key questions proposed above. Then in October, you all would, in theory, adopt this final resolution establishing city policy regarding employee organizations and instructing staff on which employee groups may elect an employee organization to hold discussions with the city. So each department can elect an employee organization to represent them to have discussions with the city. And then from October of 26 to about summer of 27, discussions would then proceed with identified employee organizations. Again, in the city of Lawrence, this process takes months. And And then late summer of '27, around there, you could expect formal adoption and recognition of identified employee organizations. Then we, obviously, I just said there again, if we end one step earlier than planned, we will proceed with the next step. So we will keep it moving.
That's a good question.
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna recognize, so you're gonna go to each division and you're gonna ask them, do you want to,
Department.
thank you, do you want to have an employee group recognize you?
Under Lawrence and under us, it would be up to each department to come to the city and say, we want to join.
But they would have to go out and find.
No, they would elect, generally they would elect among themselves. I mean, you can do it one of two ways. You could either, like the fire department here is proposing, have an external organization that they want to adopt as their employee organization, or in theory, you could form your own, internally. So,
So what if IT says, nah, I'm good?
you don't have to.
Okay.
And I mean, it's also worth noting, as we've talked about here before, even in a department that has an adopted employee organization, Kansas is a right-to-work state.
Yeah.
Which means employees within that department do not have to join that employee organization.
Right. Okay.
So,
So you're just gonna checkpoint with everybody to make sure that they don't want to first before.
that will be up,
Because
well,
Lawrence has 6.
Correct.
But we could end up just having the firefighters and that's it.
and that would be for you all to make that
Just
decision when
having it in place so that anybody
Anybody
that
else.
wants to
Yeah. They'd have
organize
to come
can.
to us. He's not even gonna check.
We would just have this in place
Yeah.
so that it would be
Correct.
easier to.
Well, isn't that what you're doing? May through, wait, isn't that what you're doing October through,
So that would be,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
in October of 2026, when you all, in theory,
Yeah,
say
we
in theory
adopt
we
it.
follow this calendar, right? October of 2026, you adopt the resolution establishing our policy. When you adopt that resolution, you will tell city staff how many organizations you're willing to have at the city. So Lawrence caps it at 6. They don't allow any more than 6. If you guys want to just start with the fire department and say, this is a trial run, that's your decision to make. Or if you want to just leave it open and see what happens, your decision to make as well. And so, but in October, you will make that final decision on how many organizations you're willing to have the city, represent or be represented.
Something
for
the
the city.
preparation group will
Correct.
discuss.
Correct. And then at that point, once that is adopted, then any department that wants to have representation, they hold the election process, and then that group comes and says, we're representing Department X, and then they start those discussions with the city.
so you have to recognize before you bargain.
There's a voting process, correct?
Okay.
So there's no reason that we couldn't align better with our budget process, like Lawrence has not.
In theory, no, but I mean, so Lawrence has said the same thing for 30 years.
Yeah.
And it still hasn't, you have two sides with two different philosophies on how things should run. And so it works. I mean, they do reach a resolution every
Yeah,
year. It's
right.
just they never meet their deadline.
Okay.
Just
So,
so
I mean-
we could just start it earlier if
Yeah.
that would help.
But we can decide, yeah.
And it's not it's not a adversarial
Yeah,
relationship.
right.
It's just they don't reach an agreement in time,
Yeah,
so.
that makes sense.
Well, it makes it harder to budget then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be worked out in the planning commission too,
Yeah.
that commission,
Yeah.
this plan commission. Yeah. Other questions, other comments?
I just can't imagine this taking May through September, 6 months, maybe like 3 months to resolve these questions.
Well, if we do, then we move on to the next step, right?
So you could potentially, like, I don't wanna make it this is like 2 years in the making, so I like to get it going, like, I mean, this is,
Yeah.
so if we could make it 3 months, that would be great. I also, we're calling out Local 64 here, and we're tying them with Unified Government, KCK, Local 64 represents 11 different, we can't tie them to KCK, I don't think that's fair, because they represent different counties and
Well, we
jurisdictions.
would review all of their,
Okay.
the point being there is we would, since they're the organization that would be representing the Leavenworth Fire Department, we would be reviewing their memorandums of understanding, so that way they're.
When you say Unified Government, I think of KCK, that's not what you.
Correct, yeah, I mean, that's their primary MOU, I would think, but if this preparation group needs to bring in more, we will do that. It's certainly not saying that's the only one we're gonna look at.
Okay.
I had expressed to Mayor Bowder earlier that I would be interested in serving on the preparation group.
I think that would be good, since you're used to working with unions and with regard to the school district. That would be very helpful, if everybody else is okay with that.
When you say work with the school district, what do you do for them? Like, are you?
I work with KNEA, like I help with their bargaining every year, and IBB, interspace bargaining, collective bargaining. That's the teachers' union.
Yeah, I'm familiar
Yeah.
with what it is.
So a lot of it's familiar to me, like resolving those disagreements. I pull a lot of data for those disagreements and things like that. Yeah.
She's gonna be mayor when this comes to pass.
Well, I just ask that if you are on it, that you speed up the timeline.
Sure. You know me.
I mean, and do we know how many firefighters do we have right now?
Gary,
Sorry,
how many firefighters on staff?
well, we have 49, well, it'd be 46 that would be in the,
All right, I'm good with it.
Anything else? Any other comments, questions? No?
I'm ready to move
Okay.
forward.
Yeah, I'm ready to move forward. Let's get this show on the road,
We'll
please.
get started immediately.
Yes.
And I appreciate firefighters coming tonight in support.
I guess you're in support, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
They're nodding, so.
Yeah, it's good. It's all good.
No, I'm excited.
All right. We ready to move on to the next
Ready
item?
to CIP?
Thank you, guys.
Can we grab food really
Yeah,
quick?
go for it.
We're going to be discussing the budget now, the CIP budget. So we're going to grab something to eat while we'll take a little 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. We're at the restaurant. I know. We're at the 5-minute mark. We'll start. She reminded me we're on time. All right. 2027 to 2031 Capital Improvement Program presentation and discussion. Good evening.
Wherever.
Okay. Yes, please join us.
First of all, I want to introduce you all to our new Deputy Finance Director. Andrew, would you like to make introductions?
This is Rhonda Miller, just joining us, and we're so excited that she's here.
Yay.
She is taking my former position as we bid farewell to Roberta here in the next 2 weeks. And this is, what, day 4 on the job? Day 5 on the job? So
Oh, boy.
she's really cutting her teeth on it, but we're so excited that she's here. So, yeah, ready for the main event tonight.
Good.
And as you all will see, this is somewhat of a symbolic but also a real transition, as Andrew is now pretty much officially our full-time finance director, as Roberta.
You're stuck with me.
As Roberta prepares for her retirement. So I'll do a quick overview and then turn it over to Andrew and Rhonda, and then each department head obviously will be here to walk through their specific departments. So this is obviously the CIP discussion for our budget for the years 27 through 31. We tried this year to do things a little differently in terms of we wanted to, based on the goal setting session that we had with you all back in February, March, something like that. We wanted to identify where those items, if they applied to the CIP, where they sat in the CIP. So if you see the top page there, it kind of shows a commission goal number key. And so as we go through this, we'll identify the areas where we have tried to slot those in. Not all of them made it to the funded list, but the ones that did, we will identify for you. Obviously have that conversation with you guys to make sure we're on the right track with you. Other than that, Andrew, let me turn it over to you and then.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just like you said, our budgeting process it's cyclic, it's ongoing, but this isn't the first step. This isn't even the first step for this year. You've already had the first step, which was goal setting session. So when we had the goal setting and priority session that we had earlier this year, that's what the staff takes back and internalizes, and then that's peppered in to what you're about to see here tonight. So that, coupled with all of the existing goals and priorities that we've had from years past, that's what makes it into the CIP. So a little bit different, a little bit of a twist. So we tried to provide you a little something different to look at tonight. So if you crack open your books, the first page you're going to see, just like Scott was saying, was we go ahead and had your priorities from the goal setting session listed there. And so you'll see those as we move forward. Where if these requirements, if they're nested with one of your priorities or goals, that you'll see that here too. But the first few pages that we're looking at, pages 2 through 6, are what I would call kind of like the Diet Coke version of this whole list. And that's going to be important because if at the end of the night we want to start talking about, racking and stacking, maybe pushing something out, maybe pulling something forward, if we want to look at that, this is the summary sheet that's going to make it a little bit easier for you to look at and quickly identify what compares with what, because it's not just all of them competing against each other, it's really by year group and by fund, and that's going to be important. So that's pages 2 through 6. Pages 7 through 93 is the meat and potatoes. This is where we'll spend the majority of the time. This is where we'll invite staff to come up and brief their individual requirements. Okay. Now, a lot of these you have seen before. They've existed in our previous CIP plans, and some of them are new. But we'll spend the majority of the evening kind of going through each one of those items and taking your questions. And then page 94 through the end of your book is what is the classic Coke. This is what you've seen before. This was the detailed summary page. It's the same as pages 2 through 6, except for this provides more detail on each requirement. It provides if an asset is being replaced, what year the original asset was. It's also providing fund balances. And so that'll be important as we look at the end, when we're really trying to push things or pull things, how that's going to affect the bottom line for each one of these funds. So the way that we approach this and present this to you is important because we present these requirements one by one, really grouped by fund. And that's important because those are the projects that are competing with each other by year group. So that's how we present these to you. You'll see the capital projects presented to you first, and the street capital projects, the grant matching fund, and then finally our enterprise funds. And it's important as a quick refresh on how these funds, what revenue that we use to fund these funds. It's sales tax. So 25% of our city sales tax is pulled over into the CIP sales tax fund, along with 85% of our countywide sales and use tax. And so that's where capital projects get their revenues for. It's the same for the street capital project fund, except that we also get an infusion of what we call FFE dollars, or federal fund exchange. So we get federal money channeled through the state of Kansas to help support, and that's roughly $500,000. So that'll help go to our street capital project fund. Grant matching fund is something newly established about 2 years ago. That was a fund that we set aside to go after capital projects, but that we knew we were gonna get a grant for. So the funding source for those is partly for the city, but the big portion of each one of those projects is really funded either by KDOT or maybe by the federal government. So, either a state or federal grant is supplementing those projects. So we wanted to sequester those and put those in our own fund, and that fund gives us, the city, the flexibility to act on something if a project comes up that we have to have, matching funds for, and that happens quite often. And then finally, our enterprise funds, that's the sewer, refuse, and stormwater. Each one of those projects is funded solely by the fees that they collect. That's why they're enterprise funds, they're proprietary, and so they're fully supported only by the fees that they collect. I want to touch on one thing as an overarching goal that we have been approaching in CIP budgeting for the last few years, really since about 2022, was the reduction of debt. Was weaning the city off of drawing debt instruments in order to free up as much sales tax money as we can. And you'll see that as we get to the very end and we look at the detailed summary and the fund balances. And we collect all of the sales tax and we place it in our sales tax fund for CIP projects, but then those dollars are siphoned off to support debt service and to support the recreation fund. So our overarching goal in the last few years has been to eventually wean ourselves off of a debt service and then fully support the recreation fund using ad valorem tax. And then we're free and clear to use all of our CIP sales tax collections for CIP projects. So that's been the strategy, the long-term strategy when we look at CIP. Okay, so we'll dive into the one-by-ones and the individual requirements, and pending any of your questions, we'll go ahead. Okay, so it begins on page 7, and we're starting with buildings and grounds. Good, why don't we slide this book down, just in case someone doesn't have a book? Yeah.
Okay, the first item on here is chillers. This was on last year's CIP also for 2027. This one actually shows us moving into 2028. As I told Andrew and Roberta, this is a little bit risky. The system is very old. If we just want to replace the compressor, we're talking several weeks. This isn't something that's on the shelf at Home Depot. If we need to replace the entire chiller, we're talking 22 to 24 weeks. The system was put in the 2004, 2005 timeframe, so we're past the life of the system. And so, if possible, we certainly like to fund it in 2027. If we need to go to 2028, we must, but just wanted to let you know that it's a concern we have as staff about pushing this out to 2028. Next item on there is general repairs for City Hall. We typically fund $75,000 a year for this, just general maintenance of City Hall. Reduced it to $50,000 in 2027 and back up to $75,000 in out years. and that is something we can live with. The next item is safety improvements and ADA upgrades at City Hall. We're actually working on the design, was funded in 2026. So right now in the street, we have an RFQ out for consulting firms that would do the design. There's a number of components to this. One is to make the building more ADA accessible. And a second component is to make certain areas of the building more secure, whether that be the city manager's office or upstairs, to direct people not into the finance department. So there's kind of three components to it. Like I said, the design will occur this year. The design is set up that we would design it so it could be bid in three different phases. Like one would be an ADA upgrade, one would be downstairs improvements, one would be upstairs improvements. And that is not scheduled till 2030 when funding's available for that. I think the last item under building and grounds, this was at City Hall, fascia restoration work. 4 or 5 years ago, they identified the fascia around City Hall as needing a lot of repair. We did some temporary repairs back probably in 21, 22 timeframe. We just wanted to get this on the books as something that needs to happen in the future. We're estimating basically $1 million to do that work. Right now we show $500,000 as scheduled for the funding for that. But that is something that does need to happen in the future.
Has there's been some minor things done, right? Over the last few years or nothing?
Nothing has been done for about 3 or 4 years.
Okay,
But,
okay.
next item, the library board has requested funding for a needs study. The library, I believe, has come up with about $16,000. They've requested $40,000 from the city for a total of $56,000. We show that in year 2031.
Did you, do they know that that's when that's scheduled? Have we talked to them about it at all?
Sorry.
Have we talked to them about the fact that it might not happen until 2031?
Oh, no, not yet, no.
Okay.
And those are the items within the facilities and grounds. Any questions on those?
Got it, okay.
Next item is our enterprise lease program. I think we've talked about this, and we'll continue to talk more about this actually when we move to the operating portion of the budget June 23rd. As you're aware of, we have a fleet of vehicles that we lease from Enterprise, and we are actively waiting for the moment when the net book value on each vehicle becomes beneficial for the city to just buy them outright and to kind of wean ourselves off of leasing vehicles. So what you see here is our obligation of our lease payments to Enterprise if we stick to the plan of slowly weaning off of, the Enterprise lease program. And that's been our plan for about the last year and a half.
Right.
As we move off of the Enterprise lease program, the replacement of patrol vehicles is here. We have scheduled tentative units from police, from the police department on which ones we'll replace and when. That might shift, depending on wear and tear on each vehicle. But this is kind of what we have programmed at this point as far as pursuit vehicle replacement. Followed by IT.
Another one of those faces. Have you all met Jack?
Yes, we have. How are you, Jack?
Well, ma'am, how are you?
I don't know if the rest of you have met, right?
I don't know.
Jack, introduce yourself, please.
yeah.
Sure. Jack Tucker, been here about a month and coming here after retiring from the Army after 21 to 26 years, depending on how you're counting.
Nice.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. As
part of the 2027-2031 Information Technology Capital Improvement, the IT department remains committed to providing secure, reliable, and efficient technology systems that support city operations and services. This plan focuses on maintaining a predictable and sustainable technology investment strategy over the next 5 years while continuing to be responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars. Cybersecurity remains to be the top priority as cyber threats against the local government continue to increase. The city must continuously monitor and protect its systems, data, and network infrastructure by following industrial best practice in keeping technology current and secure. To reduce this risk, the city uses a layered cybersecurity approach that combines multiple security measures to protect system data and users. This strategy strengthens the city's ability to prevent, detect, and respond to and recover from cyber threats while maintaining reliable services for the staff and residents. Our first priority for 2027 is the computer equipment program replacement for all the computers in the network. We have approximately 250 computers and laptops across all the departments. We're trying to follow a 4-year replacement cycle for the desktops. This program funds the replacement of the essential IT equipment used throughout the city. Let's see. Do you guys have any questions on that?
So you guys are replacing how many computers every year?
Well, we have 250 currently, but we're trying to put them on a 4-year recycle.
Okay.
So, and a lot of that's pushed by Microsoft, depending on the hardware that it has in the computers. It has to be able to get updates from Microsoft, so they kind of push that end of it. So we gotta make sure it's up to date and can have the latest security updates.
Are we running all Windows 11 computers now?
Yes.
The majority, yes. We have a few out there.
Do we have a few desktops left?
Yes. Yes, we do. For those that are not up to date, we're purchasing an extended Microsoft updates for those, but we are putting those into a plan to have those replaced as quickly as possible. The second thing on our list is the fire sand, which is a storage area network.
So that's page 16 for you guys.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry.
Amy? You guys don't know? I'm sorry. I thought you guys all knew Amy.
I'm sorry, I don't,
Oh, you don't know me?
did Marvin quit?
Marvin's on vacation.
Oh, okay,
So he asked me to
okay.
step in.
I apologize. Marvin is still our director of
Okay,
IT.
I was like,
Amy-
everyone like,
No,
Nah.
no, I'm the IT manager for public safety.
And I'm IT manager for municipal services.
oh, okay, got it, okay.
Okay.
So I thought,
Okay.
While he's out,
Gave us all a heart
you're
attack.
just filling it. Okay,
He'll
sorry.
be back in town as soon as this meeting's over.
Yeah, conveniently enough, he'll be back tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.
How convenient for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're doing great.
okay.
So are we skipping page
No,
15?
so, we can go according to the pages. He didn't have it in his paperwork that way, so.
Let's do that if it's easier
Okay.
to follow that.
So. let's
Page
see what
15
we
is
have.
the wireless access system.
Okay,
Rocky gear.
so the wireless access, this is just a life cycle replacement of all of our wireless. We have about 15 locations that have wireless in them now, and that's just to replace those.
Okay.
Now you're at the sand.
And then AV equipment and.
Oh, yeah, it's the same.
Riverfront.
Now you're back to the same.
I think we missed this one. This is a fire station one. So I don't know that he has this actually in here.
We don't have another book, do we?
Oh, no, because I looked for it earlier. The one for the fire station. This is just an actual, the one on page 16 is just a replacement. So we technically have 3 different locations that we have a sand. So last year we replaced 2 of them.
Okay.
And so this year, we're gonna replace the third one, which is located at the fire department.
Okay.
This is outdated and needs to be replaced. The hardware is starting to fail and you can't replace it.
Is this just, file backups?
This is where all of our server and all of our data is stored.
So you're just putting files on these, or you're just backing
Yes.
up to these?
No, so each location has different servers on them, so like, there's 3 different ones, and so when one backs up at night, it will copy that data to a different location, and then the other one will copy
Backups to
their.
backups,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's kind of like a backup and a disaster recovery.
Marvin mentioned during this that this is a high priority one because it should have been done back when we replaced the sands for the other 2 facilities, and for some reason it never got wrapped into it. So he's trying to get caught up.
Have we considered cloud backup versus on-site?
So we do have a cloud backup, and it's pushed to that we restored. So these here are like like when we had the cyber incident, then those servers were all local, and we had everything shut off, we could restore them locally without having to go to the cloud. Some of those servers hold a lot of data and would take like a month to restore from cloud. So we try to keep some of that local.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is the audio-visual equipment at RFCC.
Oh, good.
This has been.
Yeah, this is really needed. I'm happy about this.
This has kind of been like an add-on, throughout the years, so they really don't have something solid. And we'd like to get something that's easy for everyone to use, something for, to accommodate those, people that are, struggling with technology. So we want to have something that's easy, just kind of.
Just a lot of us at the meetings there.
Yeah, they also want to have so that it has sound throughout the different rooms. There's 3 different rooms that they'd like to put sound into.
That would be good.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
All right, the next one,
But that doesn't happen until 28?
let's see.
Correct, that's
Yeah, 20.
scheduled for 28.
Okay.
The next one is the Edge, is it the Edge servers?
Those are the routers, or
Okay,
page
the
18.
routers, these are the ones that are connected to all the different buildings, and they will route all of our data into the firewalls. So these are needing to be replaced. I believe these are just a life cycle replacement. So, do you have any questions on that?
And that's also 28.
And then we have the copiers. This will be in November of 2028. The copiers are currently on a lease. And at the end of the lease, there is an option to buy them at a considerable fair market rate.
That's good.
This one, is this the firewalls?
My list, I think
Oh,
it's the
this is the
Arubas.
edge switch. So the edge switches, when were they last? So this is another one that needs to be is a life cycle replacement for the edge switches, which are, say how many are in here?
And the life of 20.
So these
29.
are in all of our sands, so we need to replace those. And at each, I don't know if they're at each location, I just think does it say 4 or 6? I think there's about 6 of those that need to be replaced. And then
I think he's divided them out among
Yeah.
facilities, so.
So then we have the core switches, which again need to be replaced. This is on each of the buildings so that it will tell all the data where to go and which building to send the person to. And what's the last one?
How was the last UPS?
Oh, and then we,
And then the firewalls, we have 2.
2 more. Okay, Okay, the firewalls are needing to be replaced. They will, I think they're currently.
We
being
skipped the
replaced.
UPS.
Did you guys go over the UPSs?
Oh, we haven't done the UPS.
Page 22?
Okay, so the UPSs are currently going to be replaced this year. And we will need them to be replaced again in.
20 and 31.
31, yes, so,
So that's part of the project that the county kind of thrust on us. They, out at the Justice Center, have decided to divide up the IT room that we share. And they decided that it was urgent enough that we had to do it immediately. So we've had to make some adjustments there. And so Marvin went ahead and decided to replace the current UPSs based on that project. And then, so this is just preparing to replace the new ones that are coming this year.
So we have like redundant equipment over there? Is that?
Because they don't want to share.
we do. We have our own network, so it's
Yeah.
not like we share a network.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a little bit hard not to separate everything when
Okay.
it comes to power.
I didn't know if they were just requiring that now.
No,
It's-
we're doing all the wiring over there in the basement. So basically, right now, it's kind of a mumble. I mean, wires all switched around, so it's very hard to tell who's got what. So we're gonna put like this, the city in one cabinet, PD or county in another cabinet, and then SO in another. So,
Sounds like a good plan.
We already agreed the project was necessary. We kind of hoped that we would be given time to budget for it, but.
yeah, they just kind of sprung it on
Yeah.
us. They had the money, so.
Yeah.
They said go.
Yeah.
And if if they unplug us, then.
Communication thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Same old. Okay.
That is that. You what?
The firewalls are last.
Okay. So, did we do this one already? The firewalls are based on current information. Firewalls will be replaced in 2031. And these here keep, the firewalls keep all of the people outside out. And send the traffic. We can it allows us to block different IPs and different programs from coming into our network. So those need to be replaced in 2031.
31.
And I think that's the last,
All right.
right?
Cool.
All right,
Any questions for our IT team?
that it?
I don't have any questions.
No.
All right.
Looks good to me. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good job.
Marvin will be back.
Nice to meet you guys. We'll see you later.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. So this item coming from Community Development is a request for a grant match. We would like to apply for a Planning Sustainable Places grant through the Mid-America Regional Council to do an update to our zoning code and development regulations. So our current zoning code was last updated, the process began, I believe, in 2014, and it was adopted in 2016. So we're going on about 10 years now. By the time this goes through, we'll be slightly over that. 10 years isn't a super long time for a development code, but the way that things are evolving in the world these days, our code has quickly become outdated as far as things like design standards, use standards. And this would include as well the sign code, which is something we've heard a lot of talk about. So really this is coming to us from a lot of our local business owners. The Small Business Task Force brought up several of these items that we feel would be addressed through this zoning code update. So that is what we're requesting.
Sounds good. We need it.
Any questions?
No,
Easy
really.
peasy. Thanks, Kim.
We've been talking zoning for some time,
Yep.
so thank you very much for coming tonight.
Next item is for CVB. I don't think we have any representative.
So our new CVB director will be starting, I believe, in a couple weeks. So I guess I'll take this one. I think pretty self-explanatory. This is the Wagga Wagga Drive sign on, is this the one on 20th Street? Yeah.
20th, yeah.
And so, yeah, it just needs to be replaced. So we scheduled that for 2028 at $15,000.
Yeah.
Pretty explanatory. I will also take on the website platform upgrades for ADA compliance. Melissa is in the back room filming, but this is entirely pushed by our host that hosts our website, Civic Plus. Excuse me.
Jump scare.
Civic Plus is our host, and they have like 90%. I'm making the number up, but they have a lot of the municipal website market. And those are compliances that they are making us to upgrade to meet ADA compliance, to also meet U.S. Department of Justice deadlines for cities under 50,000 in population. So this has been kind of thrust upon us, but we need to do it. So we pushed that to 27.
So they're actually handling the upgrade of that?
Yeah, I think we just pay for it, and then they include the modules, and then they do the training for us and all that to make sure we're on the same page.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Jeez.
Okay, police department. And this one doesn't have a picture, but police,
Please.
Police,
Did not bring us McDonald's.
I know, get some fries out of my car.
out of the back seat on the floor.
Where the grandkids left.
So I think we have three things that we submitted from the police department's perspective. The first of which, Aaron Yoakum from Leavenworth County, the Director of Building, Grounds and Maintenance, they have a project planned this year for the replacement of the concrete in the Sallyport, which is on the east side of the Justice Center where we pull in and go into the jail and drop off inmates. The building is 25 years old now, and so it's scheduled to be replaced. And so we calculated our portion based on the percentage of occupancy in the Justice Center agreement, which we calculated to be about $70,000. I'm a little worried. They told us about the project. We really pushed hard to get an exact count. And I didn't get any of that in writing, but I did talk to Aaron, and he guessed about $280,000. So that's where we came up with that amount, and we need to put that in, and that would be our obligation to those capital projects. And so we did budget that number for next year. Still a little unsure of whether they're gonna get it done this year or next year or not, but we did needed to calculate for that. So that's part of the police department's and municipal court. It represents about 25%, is generally about what that number represents.
Is it in pretty bad shape?
What's that?
Is it in pretty bad shape?
So they I think they were planning on doing it last year. I don't think they quite got the funds to do that, so they did some patching on it. So they did do some repair work, but yeah, it's due to be replaced. It's time. So that's about the lifespan of concrete. So that makes sense. So anyway. Next up is our Bearcat. We continue to advocate strongly for the replacement of the Bearcat. We acquired it in 2005. It's about 5 or 6 years past its scheduled recommended replacement. Just a couple of things. We continue to see across the country, violence. We saw the thing in California yesterday. Less than 2 months ago here in the city of Leavenworth, you probably saw that we had the standoff with the Leavenworth Police Department and the marshals, where the person fired a dozen rounds at the officers who were behind the Bearcat, thankfully. The marshal was struck by some debris from that gunfire. So it's a critical piece of equipment. I recognize the expense of it. It's serviceable, it's functioning, it's not gonna die tomorrow, but we do want to continue to advocate to keep it in the conversation to replace as soon as we can, so that, we have that piece of equipment for our officers in the community, which we use, unfortunately, more than we would want to.
How far ahead do you have to order something like that?
Their Lenco is pretty good corporate company, so I would imagine a few months, 6 months probably, something like that.
Not like ordering a
Fire truck, yeah.
And so I think we've gotten it put in the budget for 2031, so we'll kind of monitor that. I'll keep coming back until we
You
get
think
that.
we can wait that long?
We'll see. I think so. What would worry me, Commissioner, I think, would be that if it does take rounds, that's not a simple endeavor to repair or replace. And so we'll just have to monitor it. But I think in terms of the bullet resistant material and the engine and those sorts of things, I think we can maintain. It would be a circumstance where if it took rounds for some reason, we'd have to.
But we're not putting anybody in jeopardy. That would be inside of it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not immediately. So that's that. And then up next The final project was the construction of the outdoor gun range. So we continue to have those conversations conceptually. I think the most ideal option for us is the outdoor range that we talked about last year at the spot in Lansing. That's the most ideal circumstance. It's a really expensive project, but it continues, we're treated very well by Lansing, the prison. It's just simply harder to get in because a lot of people are using it, and so we continue to put that in the conversation and keep that in the conversation. We've explored a couple of different things beyond simply us building one. We've talked about the public-private partnership. There's sort of two options that we've looked at last year. We spent that time doing that. One would be that the city of Leavenworth constructs either an indoor or an outdoor range and make it available. We would run it, but make it available periodically for the community to use at a charge and sort of offset some of those costs. So we've talked about that. And then we talked about an option of the opposite of that, where a private business would buy and build, and we would partner with them, and then we would share it. I talked to a person about 3 months ago who's interested, a private person who's retired from the Marines, that's interested in opening an indoor gun range. The problem is his plan calls for like 100 acres, and so there's not a spot in the city that would do that. But where they would operate, run it, and then let the police department have access to it. So those are the two options there, in terms of a public-private partnership that we continue to evaluate of whether that's an option.
Is there any kind of gun range in proximity with the federal prison?
They have one at USP.
So the old building would be there. I mean,
So when we had the community luncheon, right?
Right.
That building there, where we have the community luncheon, just south of that.
Behind there.
Right, is their range, right? The difficulty, the logistical issue with that is at the federal place, unlike Lansing. Lansing says, hey, go shoot Leavenworth PD, you guys are good. There, they require the presence of either an FBI agent or someone present. So it's a little more logistically complicated. Not that we couldn't do it, but that presents a little bit of a problem.
Okay.
We'd still be sort of relying on them.
That's
And then
too
the
bad,
final,
it would be perfect.
Right.
Perfect.
and then I think the final option that we've talked about, we haven't had time to spend much time on, would be a partnership with maybe the military or USP or something like that. We're gonna work on that, but I recognize the expense of it is significant and would be costly. I just worry that it continues to get harder and harder to get into the range, use the range. Shooting is a perishable skill that we just have to practice a lot and maintain our qualifications. We have some state requirements and all that. So we're paying a lot of attention to that, working on what might be the best solution for us.
Yeah.
I would think a shooting range would do very well here as like a private business, so.
Think
maybe
so.
someone will
Yeah.
be interested
Yeah, I
someday.
think so. It's a question of how we work that arrangement, whether that would be, beneficial to us. Again, it's just all about access. We try and get the cops out there at least once a month, sometimes more than that. Our SWAT team shoots more than that, obviously, so.
It just seems like all of our facilities around here, if they all have ranges, then why can't we just all get together? That might be something we need to talk to Washington.
Everybody has different needs for what they would need out of that facility and how to use it, how often they would shoot out of it, when they're available to do it. That's our big issue with Lansing, is that we keep getting bumped to the most inopportune times to use it. And so if we did that with us, then those agencies may run into the same problem with us, where we bump them. So I think there is a solution there. We need to have a conversation about it.
Especially with the
Prioritize it
port,
for-
with the port too, because they're, interested in the public-private partnerships.
Yeah, the midnight shift is shooting today from noon to 8. It's a scheduled range day. They're shooting from noon to 8. We've had to shoot on Sundays. I mean, again, we're open 24 hours. Just working our way into the schedule continues to just be a little harder every year. So,
Yeah.
a little harder every year.
All right, that's something to really look at.
Thank you.
So I think that's it for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fire department's
That's
up
not
next.
me.
Fire department.
Shared use.
The rolling rack. Rock and roll.
Page 30.
Thank you.
How are you
All right,
guys?
doing great.
Good.
How are you?
Good.
All right, good evening. So, all right, we only have a couple of items for 27 right now, but on page 30, our first item in here is a it's called, a company called Roll and Rack, makes a hose roller. It looks pretty simple and stuff, although it is expensive, but this came from one of our firemen on the shift there. He came up with a great idea on this, found this, and figured this would be great, like a safety thing, stuff to prevent back injuries and stuff. So we literally we have to test every section of hose we have every year, and literally thousands and thousands of feet of hose. And this is particularly useful for the large diameter hose, which the 100-foot sections on those things weigh upwards of 80 pounds each.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
so currently, the guys stretch the hose out, connect them together, pressure test it, and then, if you can imagine, it's like trying to walk while you're holding onto your toes, they're starting out rolling that hose and just walking and rolling that heavy hose up, and then they have to lift it and carry it. So this machine's a battery-powered machine that they hook one of the couplings on there, and then it just kind of pulls itself in as it's rolling the hose up, and then.
I'm surprised we haven't had that before,
No, we've
Like
never
something
had
very
anything like it. I believe this company's been around a little while, but we just hadn't thought of it, and so we figured that was a great suggestion,
That's
particularly.
good.
You said
definitely
it's
helped.
expensive, I think it's the cheapest thing we've looked at so
Yeah,
far.
yes, oh, for sure, both of our items for 27 are fairly inexpensive,
Yeah.
so.
Pay for an injury.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure,
Definitely.
way cheaper than one injury, so.
Work comp, mm-hmm.
Definitely,
We
so.
actually, at the beginning of the CIP, I actually, sent stuff out to the rank and file and said, any ideas y'all have? Because I don't always, a lot of times it's like working. We'd like to have this. I said, well, I need to know it by day. So we sit down and this is one of our captains sent this in.
I think that's great, that's great.
Yes.
I think it can prevent injuries too,
Oh, definitely. So then the second one for 27 here is, this is kind of carried over from previous years. We started this project several years back in like 2017, I believe it was. We have, when Station 1 and Station 2 were built 2001, so they're 26 years old now. It's hard to believe already, but when they were built, the furniture that was in the bunk rooms for the guys, they were just like pretty low grade, like typical like residential style cabinets. They're just, so they put in there, it's like an armoire, had 2 little doors and a couple drawers below it. Well, you can imagine the drawers on them, the bottom, they're a big drawer and the bottoms are like 1/8-inch drawers. So most of them have fell out, blown the drawers out. The doors are falling off of them now. And so we've replaced about half of them, I'd say, and
Okay.
with these new metal lockers. Now, this this picture's a little misleading there. It's that amount of money's not getting, that's not the actual lockers that it's
Say it
just,
looks
we
like
just
an
had to
Army
put.
issue.
Yes, they're a like a double wide, like kind of like similar to what they have now, big 2 doors that open up, but they're real heavy duty. They'll last.
This looks like one I locked my brother Steve in when he was a kid.
Yes.
Poor Steve.
Poor
And,
Steve.
and I remember when we ordered the last ones, a big part of that cost in there was shipping. It was like, I want to say back in 2017, it was $1,500, $2,000 to ship them. It's just because they're so big, each one
Yeah.
sits on a pallet, and they pretty much send a whole semi-truck all the way from the East Coast out here.
So just getting a few at a time then.
Yes, so we kind of split that up, so that's
Okay.
what that one is.
Sounds good.
And then on the slate for 28, which we're hoping that if things go well with the overall CIP, that there might be a little left there that we could potentially get this one. It's the little lower cost one too. But
Yeah.
the countertops in both of those stations that were built there 25 years ago, we're mainly looking in the watch desk area, which is where the guys sit down and do, they can do
Yeah.
reports, they can just access the computers right there. And all the countertops were just particle board laminate tops,
Yeah,
just,
Formica,
so.
old Formica.
Yeah, Formica,
Yeah.
So they're, and it's just, over time, those things don't last forever, so that Formica's just chipping off of it, and it just doesn't look good, people, public walks through the station and stuff are, different.
What do you plan to replace it with?
Well, the price that we have in there is just a similar thing. Obviously, we could look at a solid surface or like somewhere like a quartz or granite
Well-
or something like that, but that price would be
But I mean,
significantly
even with
higher.
Formica, you've got the curved edges, so you wouldn't have all this breakage like you do here. They don't fall apart as
No.
badly as this does.
And surprisingly, I would not have guessed them in the beginning to have lasted as long as they have. So they have, for what they are, they've held up pretty well, so, but we just feel like right now, it's kinda getting that
This
point.
looks like our table up here.
Yes, any of that same material is
Looks the
gonna,
same.
it's just gonna do that over time, so. But yes, obviously, the better choice, the best choice would be to go with something like quartz or granite or something like that. But like I say, we'd
Yeah,
probably be looking
that's
at
really expensive.
4 or
Yeah.
5 times that cost to do that, so.
Sounds good.
And then, so next time there for 28, we're looking to, switch out one of the GMC terrains, they're called, that we got. So about a year ago, 2 years ago or whatever, we were told that, we gotta give up the expeditions that we had just cause city had a big, shortcoming on the budget. So these were about half the cost is what we were told. So we downgraded 4 out of the 5 of our vehicles there, so,
Okay.
we kept the expedition there for the battalion truck that runs on the calls all the time. And then all the staff vehicles there are the terrains.
Okay.
And so the police departments, they very generously offered to give up one of theirs and switch with us so that we can at least have one more of them. And the importance of that is that we, during the wintertime especially, when we have, snow and ice and stuff, we try to put those trucks into service and staff those with a couple of guys to run on EMS calls so that we're not running $1 million fire trucks down icy roads, subjecting
sense.
those to
That makes a lot of sense.
get
Yeah.
accidents. So
Yeah.
it just, and to be honest, these trains, we had no idea. They say they're front wheel drive, but man, this winter, driving them, not like a normal front wheel drive, these things don't get around good at all.
Oh, really?
And then another benefit to the other ones is that we have a lot of trailers there at the fire department. We have two of our bigger boats trailers.
Right.
There's been several times in the past where, a call comes out, the guys might be out inspecting clear across town or something. Well, admin's over there and we can hook onto that vehicle and meet them down at the river. They can get started with whatever they do, clear the stuff out, and then we can get down and back it in for them, and then they take off. But
Yeah.
with the smaller vehicles, there's no hitches on them anyhow. And then another thing is we have none of the terrains have any light, sirens, anything. There's literally like this much room. There's no room to put anything in the vehicles, so.
Yeah, that
But,
makes sense.
so we're looking at least to, with PD offering up that one there, that'll give us one, and then we'd like in 28 to get at least one more, so that we have the good backups for that. And then the trains, the other ones hang on to them till the end of the lease and purchase however,
Sounds
so.
good.
I like this psychological contrast in pictures too.
Yeah,
Like the blurry terrain and the wonderful shiny expedition,
Yeah,
like
the
that was good.
I didn't put the pictures in there. Hey, thanks, Andrew.
These were enterprise leads. This was probably a case of us where we're pushing for cost cutting and we probably overly,
Yeah.
we
Well,
cut them a little bit too short.
Until you get it.
Yeah.
And
how
the
it's gonna
performance
work,
just hasn't panned out like what they need, so.
Right.
And then
I'll need one late edition of $100 of blue spray paint from Walmart.
That's funny.
At least it's a burgundy color, not. And then, another item that we had asked for, several years back was, just getting in the security cameras for Station 1 and Station 2. And that was, years ago, I forget what that document was that came out with, but that was one of the goals in the future was to improve the security and stuff of the city's buildings and stuff. So we've been looking at this ever since we've got the access control on the doors and stuff. So the same company that did our access control, they have a really, really good security camera system and stuff, and that's where we got this estimate from. So, that's kind of what we're guessing on that. And then this would only be Station 1 and Station 2, but it would be a start.
Already got them on the third, on the new
No,
station? No, it's not gonna
it
be
does
there?
not. No, it's gonna have the access control for the doors, but no security cameras,
No
so.
security cameras, okay.
But then, like, you know, we've had several incidents in the past where things have been, fire department, the station's been broke into and things have, people's
see that.
vehicles, and then just recently a PD call out there that was kind of, you know, it'd just be good to have some kind
It
of
would be.
footage for something, you know,
Definitely.
anything that takes place on them grounds, so.
That's really good.
And then, on from there is some apparatus.
Now we get into the
Oh, my
expensive toys.
goodness.
Yeah, wait a minute. No.
Save it for last.
Lull you to sleep and then.
Thank you.
So go ahead.
Well, yeah, on the apparatus, you know, that's something, we purchased 3 back in 2017. And they were all like, I don't think we had one that was over 600,000, like 540, 560. When we ordered one in 2022, it was 822,000. We just got that one in. We don't have any service yet. We're still trying to get equipment on and stuff. So it's 4 to 6% a year inflation on those. And we was trying, when we established that plan in 2016, we was trying to get to at least a 15-year replacement. Because when I came here, they bought one every 4 years, made payments on it. So 4 times up, so it was 28 years old.
Yeah.
We have one now that, the 2007. So in 2030, the plan here is to order and receive it about 2032, hopefully 2 years. Hopefully they're getting that. They're supposed to be getting that timeline down. So it'd be 25 years old, and then just going forward then. And the goal here for finance was to try to pay cash for them as we go versus borrowing. So the age is gonna jump up on a little bit, you know, it's 16, 17, and 18, so, maintenance is getting pretty rough too. We've already spent 36,000 on one of the 2017s this year.
Oh, on one of
And a
the,
total of
one of the
107 last year in
2017.
maintenance, so,
Okay,
anyway, so.
yeah.
So these trucks, more than anything, as we start to approach their order year, they're probably more than any of our other items, it's important that we really lock in the year we're going to order them. Because once we do order them, we have to make sure that we have the cash on hand while we wait on the order. And so then, as they've said, it's right now it's about 3 years, 4 years. They're hoping to get it down to about 2. So it's entirely possible they get caught up, and then we order one in 2030, another one in 2031, and they both show up in the same year. And then we got to write a $2 million check. But you know, we've already pushed these out, you know, a couple of years longer than we need to.
We have it in here.
Yeah. So.
$1 million is probably not even the right number anymore by that time, but it's good to have that programmed in now, and that's,
Makes
like you
sense.
said, like Chief said, we staggered it for a reason, so that we'd be able to, you know, swallow that pill, you know, each year without taking on additional debt.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Guess we're back to engineering. Oh, we need to take a little break.
Sure, keep going. I'll be right back.
I'm good.
Hello again.
Next item is our biannual bridge inspection. We are mandated by the federal government to inspect our bridges every 2 years. It's not an option. We currently have 26 bridges that are actually on their required inspection schedule. We also inspect another 12 bridges, some pedestrian, some culverts, that we just want to make sure that are safe for the traveling public. So we go out every 2 years for a total of 38 bridges that we have inspected. Again, so 27, 29, and 31 would be the years that we are required to inspect. We also have one bridge now that is listed as scour critical, which requires an inspection every year. And so that runs about $2,500. We don't have that in here, but
Which
just
one is
know.
Where's that?
It's on 18th Street. We don't have it in here.
Oh, 18th Street.
Yeah, 18th
Oh,
Street.
okay.
And scour critical is just the water over time has eroded or eaten out on the downstream side of the structure, and so we have to inspect that every year. So. Next item is our PCI, our pavement condition index. We were running every 3 years. Have a company come in. We've used Stantec in the past. There are other companies that do this. and they do a pavement evaluation of all the streets within the city.
Wow.
We actually went to 4 years, the last cycle. We found that that worked pretty well, and so we're recommending it to stay on that 4-year cycle. And what that does, it actually helps us determine our degradation of our streets, the treatments that we're using, how they're working. And that way we can program that information into a software package that we have that'll help us determine what streets to do each year. So,
Yeah, I think that's been a real valuable thing.
Yeah.
the next item is a drone replacement. We have a drone in engineering that we use actually quite frequently. And it will be 6 years old, and so we have it scheduled for 2030. We have to be careful now, there's limitations on where we can get drones due to a lot of stuff was made in China, and we have to be careful.
Oh,
We got a few years to think about it, so
Right.
maybe that'll be resolved.
and for the
by
political
then.
landscape, right?
Now we get to our operations. The first item we have on here is a forklift. Right now, we have a 1997 forklift.
Wow.
And so in
I was not
2027,
alive.
it's a few years old right now, only 30
We don't
years
need
old.
to- We don't need to know that.
Just getting cost too much to maintain or what?
What? It's 1997.
Yeah.
This one, they actually can only operate on concrete surface.
Yeah, only on concrete, we
Oh.
can't go out in the gravel or anything,
So you're getting one that'll go everywhere. Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that can move right away. That's good.
Next time, we had a discussion about this last year. We've been notified by KDHE that our underground fuel tanks have outlived their life. This is something if they're not leaking, but if they do start to leak, this can get real expensive really quickly. And so we,
30 years old. 30,
Wow.
33 years old.
so it's important that we go ahead and do this in 2027.
Okay.
And the cost has been broken down between the sewer fund and the refuge fund.
Okay.
Now, this is just our VERB, Vehicle Equipment Replacement Program out of operations. This year in 2026, we actually originally had programmed two trucks, but we ended up keeping the cab and chassis and replacing the dump beds and the spreaders. But we do show in 2027 replacing a 2011 International dump truck with the spreader. And that truck would be, was that 16 years old at that time frame? And then a couple purchased, is that just one or two trailers? That's two trailers. One trailer, okay. Right now, we have, on our trailers, we have smaller trailers that we can't we have to make multiple trips or road equipment to the job site. This would allow us to have like the roller, compactor, all those things on
All
the
in
trip.
one trailer.
On the trip.
Pull that with the dump truck?
Huh?
Pull that with the dump truck?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, was it last year, we completed construction of the big blue building on the north end of the lot. It's shared between Public Works and the Police Department. One thing we noticed this past winter, if it's 10 below outside, it's 10 below inside. And so some of the equipment didn't necessarily want to start. And so we show here is in two parts. One is insulating the structure and then providing heat for the structure.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then this one is, these are the columns that are in
Beautiful
the,
columns,
in the bays where we do our mechanic work.
right?
Well, they're really nice looking, they're pretty non-functional. So from an efficiency standpoint, what we'd like to do is,
Well, I always wondered why they were there. I mean, they didn't need to be there to hold the building up. You
No,
could just have a
no.
little pole, but.
they're a conversation piece.
Yes, they definitely are.
But replace those and make our operations much more efficient by having hose reels, oil, all those things.
Yeah, makes sense.
We show that in 2030.
2030, okay.
Any questions on those?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parks and Rec.
Good evening, gentlemen.
So unfortunately, we will be saying goodbye to Steve here in the coming month. So
Keep a short timer.
Steve is retiring after how many years of?
20, it would be 24 if I made it to August.
Okay, 24
Wow.
years, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a good run. We've done a lot of great things over the years, so with a lot of great people.
Yeah,
Speaking,
your hair was dark when you first came.
it was. I also raised 2 daughters and they got through their teens, so I attributed some of that to them. And then I'll attribute some of it to the Riverfront Community Center. That was after a transition. This first page, page 55, kind of encapsulated 4 items in the CIP that we have for upgrades, for renovations, repairs, and equipment at the community center. The first item is we're actually in phase 2 this year of replacing some of our gym equipment, our fitness equipment. We've spread that over 5 years, each year adding about 5% to be able to replace about 4 or 5 items. Just to avoid being a big ticket item to replace everything down there, we were looking at well over 6 figures, so.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I think, in our discussions, we decided to phase that out, so. We have 5 items on order right now, and then that'll continue on in 27, 28, and 29.
Okay.
The second item you'll see is the wood floor refinishing and restoration. This is in the men's and women's waiting room. Over the many years, if you've been in those rooms, you've noticed how shiny those floors are, and we do that with wax that we continue to wax and re-wax and work. And over time, that gets thick, it gets pits in it. Sometimes you get down to the wood where you'll actually get some chips in the wood itself. So this item is to strip all of that wax off and go ahead and get a good grind, a good finish on the natural wood floors.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then refinish it with the
So we'll
wax.
be covering it over.
Yep,
You
yep,
just-
so.
Good, that's great.
Yeah, basically just refinishing what is there.
Okay.
Third item is the indoor track, which is down in the basement. It's a 1/10 mile indoor track, gets a lot of use. You can literally see it is coming apart at the seams in
Little
places.
tripping hazard.
It's not in a position now where it's a safety issue.
Okay.
But we do have it scheduled out, looks like in 2031. So definitely an item we want to look at. It gets year-round tons of, when it's too hot, people like to come inside and walk when it's air conditioned. When it's too cold, people like to come inside and walk when it's freezing out, so. And then the fourth one is the gymnasium floor. The gym floor was put in 2003, and it has held up really, really well.
That was put in right after the flood, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the other one sucked.
Yeah, it was a natural wood floor, and this is it's called Terraflex flooring, and it has held up fantastically. It's like I said, it's 23 years old. It's got some holes in it, just a few, like where some maybe. We have, as you all know, we hold a lot of events in there, so sometimes people put their chairs and the little protectors on the bottom of their chair will come up. There's only a few of those. It's really let's put it on the radar type of item.
Okay.
You'll see it's still unscheduled and it's perfectly safe and fine, but it's just one of those things we wanted to have on the radar so that we don't forget about it, because it will need replacing at some point. But it doesn't get dead spots like your normal hardwood basketball court would get. So it's very, very usable. It's just showing some wear. So those are the 4 items at the community center, and I'll turn over to Brian for some park stuff.
So some of the next ones won't be over our parks. This one here is our Massey Ferguson tractor. It's an older tractor. We're starting to have mechanical problems with the transmission. We've had to replace the tachodometers and things like that. We use this tractor a lot for our field maintenance, putting fertilizer down, aerating the fields. blowing leaves in the fall into piles so we can remove them out of our parks. And we've even used it for snow removal and stuff. This is only a two-wheel drive tractor, so it can be a little bit hard in the winter to move snow around, but we've done it. So we got this one scheduled for next year, 2027. And we'll replace it with this light, similar tractor, a small one, so we can get around with it.
Will it also be two-wheel drive?
No, it'll probably be, most of them are four-wheel assist.
Good.
So, yeah, it'll make moving around a little bit easier. The next one you're gonna see on here is our 11-foot, self-propelled mower. This is one of our main mowers. We have two really big mowers. This one's 11-foot. The next one is a 16-foot. This is a vital part of our mowing operation throughout the summer. We cover a lot of ground with these mowers. They get a lot of wear and tear. This mower in particular, we've seen a lot of problems already this year, and we're just getting started. Cracks in the frames, problems with the fuel tanks, just a lot of problems you start to get with a piece of equipment that goes over a lot of rough ground mowing summer after summer after summer. So we bumped this one up. We originally had this one scheduled further out, but we bumped this to the front because of some of the problems we're having. This is the other mower I was talking about. This is our 16-foot mower. This is a Jacobson mower. We have a lot of problems with the back axles on this mower, and the decks mowing evenly. We struggle a lot with this. The motor seems to be in pretty good shape, but the rest of it's falling apart. You know, and that's just how these are.
10 years old, yeah.
Yeah, they go over a lot of rough ground. Unfortunately, they're not built like a Caterpillar bulldozer or something like that, where you get 40, 50 years out of them. These just, they're not built as tough and as strong as something like that. So we have this one scheduled for 2028, and it mows a lot of grass.
So these two mowers, they have steep price tags, but if you were to buy just regular mowers and man them, you would spend more hiring the staff and paying them to run it.
Right.
So it's expensive, but it is a cost savings overall to cover that amount of grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that 16-foot mower, you'd have to buy 3 6-foot mowers basically, and then, well, and 3 more operators. And then if you did the same with the 11-foot mower, you'd be buying two mowers and 2 more operators, so.
Yeah, it's not like you're mowing a golf course or something.
Right.
Right.
Although these two mowers are finished mowers, so we can and do mow our soccer fields and baseball fields also. We have a bat wing that we pull behind a tractor that we do big, like Ray Miller Park, big open spaces like that.
Fresh hogs.
Yeah, but we are able to go over our soccer fields and our ball field outfields with these because they are a finished type of mow.
Okay.
Next is the skateboard park. The lighting for this,
Not until 2028.
it's scheduled in 2028. With this project, it's not like our Cody Park project where we had the infrastructure already there for the lightings and all we needed was a light pole and some wires to the infrastructure and we can light it. This is where we're setting a new meter, we're putting 4 poles in, so it's going to be a bigger dollar amount than it was for Cody Park. I can answer any questions you have on it.
No way to get it earlier?
Well, I mean, we can always move it up, we're gonna have to move something out. So as you get to, when we get to the summary, I think we're at about $78,000 left for the year 2027.
Okay.
With all of our operational stuff, so 2027 and 2028 are really tight.
Okay.
And then it gets better as we go.
How come you didn't put electricity in when you first built it?
I don't have that.
I don't have that answer either.
That was before me,
I wasn't director at the time,
yeah.
but I think the thought process was just for daytime
Use.
I think. And then over time, the popularity skyrocketed and, you know, yeah.
Which is good, but.
Yeah, absolutely, that's why we build things, we want people to come. Another thing that this cost includes, like Brian said, there are 4 poles and you have to have that because of the the above ground equipment and the shadows and stuff that get cast. The two poles that will be on the corners, what would be southeast and southwest, they will be constructed in where they can be added to if we wanna add. There's only really one direction we can go if we wanna add to that skate park, and that's to the south, kind of uphill a little bit. So the poles on those then will be adaptable where we can add more lighting if we do expand the skate park at some point in the future.
Okay.
Just a little tidbit of information on that.
Next is heaters for 3 of our park restrooms. During the winter time, we winterize our park restrooms. And we do this in case we lose power, and we can't heat the restrooms. By heating the restrooms that we have, even though we winterize them, it keeps things from moving around. It keeps things in good order. It keeps the freeze and thaw from happening in case you don't get all the water out of the pipes. And so this has put wall heaters in 3 of our restrooms, Woolman Park restroom, the soccer complex, and Haymarket Square. As you may know, Haymarket Square restroom can be quite cold during our holiday tree lighting
Just
event.
thinking that, yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's quite an experience.
So, yeah, so anyways, so we have that, for 2029. That would heat those restrooms. We would not have the restrooms open in the wintertime, but it'd be in there for those reasons.
So we could open earlier. That'd be good.
Yes, and those
Later,
restrooms
stay
don't
later.
get open as early as the other ones, that's
Yeah.
correct.
That's good. Okay.
The next one is the chain link fence, down at Riverfront Campground. This, cuts the park between the railroad tracks and the park, so it keeps, pedestrians and people using the park from going, around the railroad tracks. This is an old fence. I do not know the age of this fence, but we have it scheduled out in 2030. Reason being is they're putting a new bridge in. And there's no reason to put a new fence in and then have it ripped out and then put another fence in.
Yeah.
So we're gonna schedule this until after that, and
That makes
we'll
sense.
just go from there for that fence and,
Sounds
as
like
you
a
can see,
plan.
it's falling down.
Yeah.
Let's hope they just rip it out and replace it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
hopes.
That'd be great.
Exactly.
The next item is
Hey, our
the
fence was
land
perfect.
acquisition. Land acquisition, we talked a little bit about this at the goal setting session, as far as geographically representing our citizens throughout the city, and as we continue to grow south and west, this would look at acquiring land out in that area for future possible park development, to help serve some of the, the new housing developments and stuff towards the south and west. Currently our furthest southwest park that have any type of infrastructure such as restrooms and shelters and stuff is Cody Park. We do have 10th Avenue Park, which is pretty much dedicated to soccer. Beyond that, you have 20th Street Trail, but other than that, there's no parks out in that area with playgrounds and shelters and restrooms and any type of any other infrastructure. So obviously the first step of that is acquiring land and, and looking forward, looking ahead and saying, okay, where does it make sense geographically? And Brian and I have been looking at some of the different areas, and we don't have like a particular parcel of land in mind, just some areas, and say, hey, I think we need to look forward and down the road so that we're serving the citizens throughout the entire city.
So how many acres are you thinking about for something like that, or lots, or?
I mean, I guess it would just really depend on what would be available, whatever, if we get a little 40, 50, 60 acre tract, and build and develop a really nice park out of something like that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, okay.
It was hard to come up with a dollar figure, so we just
I
threw
don't know what it could
something.
be then.
You can spend as much as you want or as little as you want.
Right.
Yeah, I was
Right.
kind of thinking of the layout of the size of something like that often.
Right.
You're talking kind of off of 20th Street, that area.
Sure,
that way.
sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense because that's, would be accessible out there.
So it's out there clear out of 2031 right now, so it's on the radar, but it's,
Yeah.
the
We
next
won't
one.
have to worry about it.
Well, let me doing my due diligence if I wasn't, so.
Thank you.
The next one, when Sports Field was constructed in 2010 and 2011 and opened, there wasn't any overhead protection as far as shade is concerned, and we've had a lot of comments from users over the years of having some more shade out there, and it's a pretty big ticket item because it would require bringing in anchor, the poles and stuff to hold something like that. It would provide a dual purpose, because they give you a little bit of overhead protection from foul balls also. But it's kind of an afterthought thing, but it is a big ticket item because it would require its own supporting post being brought in and put in.
Very large footers in there too.
So. The next one is a huge ticket item, and I got it all out of my chair, but this results from a few inquiries from citizens, as well as some conversations with St. Mary's, who use our tennis courts, just what would it cost? And so we had one of our good landscape designers, Vance Rucka, who did the pickleball courts and everything over at Cody, come out and do some work on this for us, and to see just what it would cost to get what we wanted. And this is basically everything. So if you're familiar with David Brewer and Madam Mayor, I know you are, if you're standing in the parking lot, the tennis courts are a good solid 2.5, maybe 3 foot higher than the parking lot.
Right.
So this requires a lot of earthwork, a lot of removal of earth to get down to a good solid base. The problem we have out there now is the courts are old. They get reoccurring cracks in them. We put Band-Aids on them every 3, 4, 5 years, and we fill cracks, we repaint, and then ultimately they return, and it goes all the way clear down to having a good solid base on the bottom. And I don't know what the base is clear down on the bottom. What I do know is what we did over at the pickleball courts, when you take everything out and you put in a good solid rock foundation, and then you come in with the post-tension concrete, like we did there.
Sure.
Then you're alleviating a lot of this. This is extreme long-term. When Brian and I met about this and talked about it, we didn't expect it to get funded. We expected it to be unscheduled, but I think it's something, tennis isn't the most popular sport right now. Everybody knows that, so there's not a lot of squeaky wheels out there looking for this. But the 6-court footprint itself is, I would say, about 1.5 times the footprint that you see on our pickleball courts over there. It's really large.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you need to do the whole thing, because the whole thing never gets used except during tournaments.
And there's possibilities of downsizing. Do you do 4 courts?
Yeah.
So there are.
I just can't imagine not having any tennis courts.
Right. And I can't either. And we're looking right now to do another Band-Aid on it. But we're trying to do that through our operational budget, without taxing the CIP any further. And we think we're gonna be able to do that maybe in conjunction with St. Mary's, since they do use it.
Are they willing to contribute?
Well, Rob Miller used to be on our park board. Rob Miller's the AD over there. So Brian and I have floated the first quote that we got, and we've gotten 2 more since then. So we're gonna go have a discussion, sit down with them and see if there are any available funds. They've done some other things already for us, like they've bought new nets and stuff like that, so they are willing to.
I didn't know he was there. That's good.
Yeah, he's the athletic director over there.
Okay, good.
So we're looking at going down that road for this next, I call it a Band-Aid, 3 to 5 year fix. But more than that, this is,
We'll see, you never know, it might pick back up again.
Things are cyclical. You're right. You see it. Pickleball may go by the way, and tennis might come back, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Next one is a result of another goal-setting session from several years back, where we talked about developing gazebo park. It's still in there. It continues to be a very large ticket item. This is, again, making a really nice downtown professional park setting. I'm not even sure now that ticket price would be enough, but nice lights and walkways and the gazebo there along Delaware, with gardens and the whole 9 yards.
Nice, yeah, it would be nice.
Next up is our pool. This is to paint and repair cracks within our pool. As you can see, some of the caulking coming out of the joints and so forth. The last time this was done was about 10 years ago. And so it's time, once again, to have that done. So we have that scheduled for 2027, along with some repairs to the deck of the outside pool there at Woolman Park, the caulking, rejoints, caulking the joints and keeping the water out best we can with the freeze and thaw, trying to extend the life of that without having to do any major repairs. So that's also for 2027. Another thing with the outdoor pool, the outdoor pool's starting to get a little age on it, even though it doesn't seem like it's that old or was built that long ago, but the HVAC system has run its course. We are having problems with the heating part of it mainly, the air part of it, but it needs some help. So we have that replacement for 2027 at 11,000. Next on the item is the slides at Woolman. The slides are in pretty decent shape. We're starting to see a lot of leakage through the joints of the slides, so they'll need to be recaulked. And while you're doing that, you need to have them re-gel coated and surfaced again, just to keep up and extend the life of the slides in general. So we have that scheduled for 2028.
This will be the 24th year.
Yeah.
For Woolman.
Is that right? I just wondered.
Yeah.
That's great.
It is, okay.
Any questions on?
No.
All that?
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You can continue going, but I'm gonna take a bathroom break.
Going, wait.
No, go ahead and go. Okay, go ahead and go. Yes. Be right back.
Welcome back.
We're making a transition into a whole new fund. Just so
Okay.
you're aware, and we're now in the streets capital fund.
You need to wait for.
Nope, you're good.
Go ahead.
Okay. First item in here on page 59 is our street capital projects fund and for the annual pavement management program. We used to budget $2 million a year for this program. We've been increasing that roughly by 5% a year for the last couple of years. In 2027 and 2028, we bumped that back down just a little bit to help fund other projects. And then towards the end of the CIP, we get that back up to that 5% that we were looking for. When we do have a little bit less funding, what we'll be doing is spending more money on our surface preservation. So less mill and overlay, but more surface seals to keep the good roads good. So what you see here is 2.18 million in 2027. Out of that, we'll be taking 475,000 for a project we were awarded through KDOT to do forestry from Syndicate of Metropolitan. So that'll finish that project. So from downtown all the way up to Metropolitan, will be a new, basically a new roadway.
Great.
That'll be done in 27 with the new bridge opening in 2029. We also taken money, 13,000 out for the taxiway program. We were awarded this year a KDOT aviation grant to seal the surface of the taxiway and apron at the airport. And so our contribution is 13,000 and KDOT will chip in 69,000. Now, the other item in here is the signal interconnect from 4th to 7th. We've had a lot of input from the fort and other folks about the traffic issues on Metropolitan, whether they're coming off of 7th or going up 4th, delays, stacking that's occurred.
Yep.
And so Trevor actually submitted a grant for, I think it's an innovative technology grant, and we were awarded that grant, and that will allow us to tie 4th and 7th together.
How much was that grant? How much was that grant?
It's about, I think, 150,000 in the ballpark.
Wow.
Wow. Good job, Trevor.
Good job, Trevor.
So, I was getting my lap card the other day and the lady started complaining about the lights. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do that
If you're
every
coming off
morning.
post on Seventh, coming off post on Seventh, I mean, sometimes you'll sit there for a couple cycles.
Yeah,
Yep,
you will.
And so it's one of those things where we wanna be able to get people through. We don't want them just to get them on Metropolitan, they're stuck on Fourth.
yeah.
We wanna be able to move them through.
And
So this-
people run the lights because they know
Right.
they're gonna be sitting there for a while, so they'll, yeah.
Get out in the middle of the intersection and get stuck.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what she was telling me
Yep.
about, yeah.
I've never done that.
So, this, the biggies on those, we do like in 28, we do have some projects that we have, submitted grant applications for. And so we show money held out of those. for that. The next page, page 60. This is a striping program. We actually started this last year. And the CIP, it's important that we make sure that we get to have good striping at our intersections and our schools. And so we've actually allocated fund of $25,000 a year to make sure that we either new or refresh the striping at those locations, so.
Which ties into Safe Routes to School plan, some of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely,
Yeah.
She was paying attention.
and then the next item is our signal modernization program. Back in 2022, we had hired Olson to do an assessment of all of our traffic signals. We have over 40 traffic signals here in the city. Some of them are very old, some of them are very new, like on 4th Street. But it's important that we maintain those and upgrade the components within those. So basically what we're looking to do is funding 2 signals a year. It's not a complete replacement of the poles and mast arms, but that's upgrading controllers, those types of things, so. Okay. And this is one I did just mention, this was a airport taxiway maintenance plan we were awarded through KDOT this year. Total budget's about $82,000 for this. The city's contribution is $13,000 coming out of
Nice.
payment management, and KDOT will contribute $69,000.
Yes.
Good.
Good.
Next item that the airport board identified was lighting at the airport along the taxiway. This was installed in 1947. It's been through several floods, and so they've asked that we look at replacing that. We would
Holy
get this, I mean, it's programmed in if we get a grant. We will every year apply for a grant through KDOT Aviation. It's estimated cost at $51,000, and so our share would be $8,500. That-
Easy enough.
And
Whew.
the last item we show in 2031 for the airport, what we're doing this year is a surface seal to kind of preserve what's there. But the PCI numbers that they have for the airport, just like our roads, show that we're gonna have to mill and overlay it at some point in time in the future. And so, again, it's dependent upon us getting a grant through KDOT Aviation. But this is a mill and overlay, and it's actually an increase in the radius. On the picture, you'll see an area that's kind of darkened, kind of in the radius, a darkened area. What they're having trouble with is plane fueling at the fueling station, and another plane comes in, getting pretty close to hitting wingtips. And so they've asked us to go ahead and expand that out a little bit, so.
That's a good idea.
That's in 2031.
I don't know why they didn't think of that long time ago. That's amazing.
And then this goes back to a project we just talked about, the signal interconnect on Metropolitan. Again, $2027, it's a $157,000 project, $46,000 from the city, $110,000 from KDOT.
Great.
Next one is 4th Street. Again, another one we talked about, Seneca to Metropolitan. That's a 27 project. It's set to be bid in December of 2026, and it'll be bid through KDOT. Our contribution would be $475,000, with KDOT contributing $400,000. And you'd ask, when we awarded the last payment management things for 2026, you notice there was a little bit of money left over. And that money is gonna go in 2026 to fix curbs and sidewalks and ADA ramps along this same stretch of roadway.
Okay.
So when we do the KDOT project,
So
it's just a mill and overlay.
Oh, good.
So we
That
got-
makes, it says if awarded, have we gotten
Yeah, actually,
confirmation?
yeah, we got this one.
Okay, good.
Another project we have applied for, have not been awarded yet or been notified, but we wanted to make sure it was included. Our Safe Streets and Roads for All, SS4A grant, that we end up creating a Vision Zero action plan, identified the 10th and Eisenhower as a particularly hazardous location. And the report identified that. We had a interactive map online that people could go put pins on. A lot of people have had concerns about this intersection, whether it's not having a dedicated left turn for eastbound traffic, or it's coming out of the north entrance of Walmart,
Yeah.
and you can't see.
There's been
And-
fatalities out there too.
Right. And so this is an intersection that we've applied for to get work done associated with our Vision Zero. Our consultant has put together a bunch of letters from some of the businesses in the area expressing support, so we're hopeful this year that we'll get this grant.
That would be
Does the
great.
Walmart entrance, even though it's back, does that still count as, like, does that make sense? You know how like the Walmart, I don't know like north and south, but like on 10th Street, the entrance to Walmart, right?
Yeah.
It's not like right at 10th and Eisenhower, it's a little bit,
No, we actually
It's part of
include.
the project.
it is part, okay, thank
And it
you.
actually includes a little bit of sidewalk north of that,
Good,
so we
Yeah,
wanna tie that
that's
sidewalk
dangerous.
together, but yeah, it all.
perfect,
I
awesome.
believe the sidewalk replacement would maybe up to Gatewood. Like any place
Oh, good.
missing sidewalk, we're gonna fill those in, and that goes with safe routes to school as well.
Good.
Sidewalks, so.
So is
That's
that
awesome.
Gatewood from Old Tanya Road to Gatewood Street, or is that all of that?
Gatewood all the way to.
Eisenhower.
20.
Eisenhower,
Okay.
Any place we need to fill in,
Yeah.
the sidewalk will fill in.
Next project, page 68. That is 4th Street. We're actually, Mike just applied for another City Connecting Link Improvement Program grant. And it's on 4th Street again from Marion to Reese, and also from Poplar to Spruce. And so we did Reese to Poplar last year in front of Tire Town. And this grant is for, again, basically by Price Chopper, up to Tire Town, and then Poplar all the way to Spruce. It'd be a mill and overlay project. We applied for that grant. We needed to show it in here, but we have not been notified of an award at this time.
If this is later on, just tell me to stop talking, but we got an email about like streets like Reese that are just in really bad, like too bad of shape to mill and overlay. Do we have a budgetary plan for how to address those in the future, or is that just really
So,
expensive?
As part of the short answer is no and yes.
Okay,
As part of our planned CIP, we had to push some funds for the pavement management program from 27-28 into 29-30-31.
okay,
So 27-28 are gonna be a little less than they normally would be, but we make up for it in the next few years in 30-31.
okay,
Our thought being, some of those years could be spent on some of those full replacement
yeah,
on streets instead of, spending more money on complete replacement on some of the streets like Reese and things like that, that have failed.
yeah,
Instead of your mill and overlays, your chip seals, things like that.
yeah,
So just kind of, every year, we kind of do a little bit of a slider, it's like, all right, we're gonna do a little more of this, a little less of this. And so, maybe in the future, we do, in those years where we have a little more funding, do the
Okay.
complete replacements.
Yeah,
That
we
makes
put together from our pavement condition index, some streets that were under 30,
yeah,
and we're trying to put that in a form that's, when we do the PCI, it's intersection to intersection, so I might
Sure.
have Lemon Street listed 15 times.
sure,
And so I'm trying to get together a list of, these are the streets, and this is where we need to reconstruct.
that would
So
be
it's
great.
easier to read.
Yeah, I would love that, yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Next project, again, this is a grant matching project applied for, haven't been awarded yet. This is along 3rd Street from Delaware to Pawnee. It would be to improve better access and safety for bicyclists and pedestrians. The new bridge on the south side will have a nice pedestrian walk, bicycle path, and has a bump out.
That'd be so nice.
So people can look out, and I think Pat was, we're gonna name it the Pat Kitchens jump there.
Yeah.
Overlook.
Yeah, we want
Approved.
people to be able to get there. And so we initially thought about trying something on 4th Street, like a bike lane on 4th Street, and KDOT said absolutely no.
That Third Street makes a lot more sense.
Right, Third Street's actually very wide, and so we submitted a grant application for, basically surface seal, ADA improvements, and, some bike lanes, but also sharrows. Sharrows are shared use, so.
Yeah, that's great, that's great.
And then the next project is another one that we applied for. It's through MARC, sub-allocated funding. It's the 4th Street Arborway improvements. If you didn't know, we had a 4th Street Arborway.
Yes.
It's north of Potawatomi. The city in the years past has purchased property along 4th Street.
Tore down the houses and.
Yeah, so if you drive up 4th Street, you'll actually see an area that's much wider. There's no houses right against the roadway. And that was done, like I said, a number of years ago, before my time. But we thought it'd be nice to maybe make some improvements along that, behind the curb.
That'd be good.
And again, to tie in with the new bridge and your entryway into town. So we did apply for a grant for that. Again, haven't heard on that.
Urban renewal back in the 1970s.
So a little, a few weeks
Before you were
ago.
born.
And then we, a
Yeah,
couple
a
of
little
weeks back, they had some.
So a few weeks ago, I asked Brian and Mike to put together a list of all of the grants that they had kind of gotten over the last few years. Because I think at times we kind of forget how much work we do here in the city.
Oh, yeah.
By my math, since 2020, the Public Works Department has received over $4 million. in grants.
Wow.
That's great.
That's amazing.
So I think we kind of forget how much we've gotten out of that and how much
Yes.
work they've done
What
to
they've done
get
do
those
it,
grants,
to get
so.
that, yeah.
That's a big deal, that's a lot of money.
It
No,
is.
it's a huge deal.
We should be posting about that on social media.
We should be. I think, I haven't had the chance to follow up with them yet. I want to put a little more effort into it and get like a return on investment kind of calculation
That'd be
That
going.
would be good.
But
While we're
it's,
working on budget, that's a
correct,
good
yeah.
good thing to do.
Yeah. Great work.
Okay,
We're making another dramatic pivot now into the enterprise portion, so we start out with sewer fund.
next.
But Brian must stay.
You're all involved in a lot, Brian. I mean,
know,
you're up
what
here
the
a
heck?
lot.
I know. Okay, now we switch over to our sewer fund. And so Tim, you know Tim is our superintendent for WPC. And so, as all of our infrastructure is, our underground collection system you don't see, until there's a break and somebody backs up. But that needs to be replaced. We have something called I&I, you'll hear us say I&I. I&I stands for inflow and infiltration. And so inflow is when stormwater typically runs directly into our collection system. Infiltration is we have cracks in the pipe and the water just kind of slowly migrates into our system. We have a heavy rain event. Our average daily treatment's a little over 3 million gallons per day. We might try to push 10 million plus through that plant. And so that's all rainwater, groundwater that we have to treat. So it's important that we do work to reduce that. And so we have scheduled every year 500,000 to make improvements on that.
How often do we do smoke testing?
We did some actually last year. Yes.
Do what?
Smoke testing.
And we have our own smoker, we can go out
Smoke
and
down,
do.
you see it comes up, you know, there's.
so there's a machine that it really just cooks vegetable oil. And they sometimes color it and dye it, but then it just blows the smoke down the pipe. And then the smoke, when you see smoke coming out of the ground, it's not supposed to, so that way you know that there's a leak there somewhere.
And we do warn the residents, so when smoke comes out of their gutters, things like that, that are illegally connected, that they get kind of excited.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
If your house is connected to the city sewer drain, it will smoke your house up, so.
Yeah.
But it's just
Hey, good to
vegetable oil,
know.
it's not toxic.
Noted.
Okay.
The next item on here is basically just improvements and repairs to the plant. We have a number of items listed each year. Some of these are just, we got the year installed listed. A lot of these were identified through our wastewater master plan update we did probably 2 years ago with HDR. That kind of went through every single piece of equipment we had out there. And we also gave this information to Black and Veatch, who did our recent updates. And they've given us some advice on, yes, you should do these, or no, you shouldn't. Because if you have a new plant coming online,
It doesn't matter.
don't spend 100,000, 200, we can make that
Okay.
last until we get the new plant, so.
That was gonna be my question, so that's
So
good.
these are the items that are identified as needed upgrades. So. And then there's just some pictures associated with those.
Okay.
I mentioned before, where you look at that electrical cabinet there with the rust,
Yeah.
a lot of this is 1970s vintage. And
Look at that
so,
concrete. Holy moly.
yeah, it's got a nice patina to it.
Yeah. Ugh.
Because you've seen worse doesn't mean it isn't.
Thank you, Scott.
Surviving.
Then on this page, we have backup generation at 3 lift stations. Right now, we have a trailer mounted a generator that if we have the lift station go out, we haul that generator out. KDHE thinks we should have actual backup out on site. If we have a problem, it automatically switches over. And so that's getting these up to shape.
Okay.
And then a new trailer mounted jetter to replace the existing equipment, just a replacement. Right now we have a 1980s flatbed truck with a pump, so.
Okay.
And the camera system that we have, we're currently experiencing trouble with our camera system. It has been taking off on us. We've had it in Illinois twice now.
They actually still have the actual camera computer there.
Oh, wow.
A loaner.
It just kind of take off across the, yeah, we're trying to figure it out, but it's an older piece of equipment purchased in 2012. The environment that it works in is rough. It runs our sewer lines, and so it's important we have a camera that's dependable.
Sure, absolutely.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And then this one is the Hallmark Force Main. This is one that goes from Hallmark Lift Station east to the east side of 4th Street, I believe, and then up 4th Street. When we did worked with Lansing and did the Eisenhower 4th Street intersection, we actually had a couple of failures in the force main, right there by the advanced auto there. And so it's important that we replace that.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember fixing those.
And in 2028, we do show a storage building. This one, no plans at this point to heat this building, but it's to keep things out of the elements. This is programmed in 2028.
Okay.
And then probably one of the most important things we have is the new wastewater treatment plant.
Oh, boy.
Pretty good number there.
Good, yeah.
Is this the winner of this better be the most expensive
Oh,
thing? in
yes,
the-
yeah.
Okay, excellent.
This is
This
what
is
we
more
went-
than the rest
this
of
is
it
what we went to
combined.
Washington for.
Yeah.
And so it just basically completed the wastewater treatment plant master plan update with Black and Beach. They actually did the original design back in the 70s. They're very familiar with the plant. We spent a lot of time working with them. I don't know if you remember, but there was at one point they had a $170 million plant. And we were able to, with population projections, bringing those population projections down, and that allowed us to eliminate some of the treatment in the process because we had less people. They were able to bring the whole project down to, again, around 120 million. What we show is design starting in 2028 through 2029. It looks like a big number, and it is for the design, but your design on something like this is typically runs 10 to 12% of the actual construction cost.
How future-proof is this? I mean, how long will this last us?
This treatment process should last us another 50 years. The one thing we've been very lucky, we discharge directly to the Missouri River. If we were discharging to any other body of water, we would have had this done years ago. We just, the old saying, the solution to pollution is dilution.
Yeah.
We were lucky to go to the Missouri River. And like I said, our permit cycle is 5 years.
Yep.
And we're due again in 28. In 28, we think in 2028, we'll have, some things we're gonna have to monitor. And so the end of that 5-year cycle, we better have something online ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that time frame.
So in a perfect world, the population increases a lot, this will go, you think go another 50 years?
Yeah, it'll be designed for growth, yes.
Okay.
Note the funding source here, obviously, the fees for service for the sewer service can't support this, so, that's why we have, this will be debt service. I mean, we'll have to, we've already talked to, financial advisors and bond counsel on how we'll approach something this large.
We're
Yes, it
talking
would
to
be
the government, we're talking to the fort, we're talking to the.
A lot of variables
Other
at this
entities
point,
as
but,
well.
Yeah.
we have to put the numbers on paper so that we can begin, the planning process.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
the key there is the price tag isn't 123.5 million, it's 123.5 million plus interest.
Right,
So,
because it's debt, yeah.
And so we're gonna try our
And
best to cut
inflation.
that back as much as we can.
And inflation.
That's
Are we
why-
talking about raising rates?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We will be having this conversation this year about like starting next year, how do we get caught up?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the big iceberg, ahead. This is sort of sequestered to sewer fund, in that this is its own thing that we're talking about. We're not talking about the rest of the city, but it certainly would bleed over into the rest of the city if we were to, pull a general obligation bond. And we will talk more about this,
Okay.
many times, but yes, obviously, increasing fees would be a part of the strategy in preparing to swallow debt service for this magnitude.
Yeah.
And we've started preparing where we can. So Fort Leavenworth has a contract with us for how much they pay us. Part of that contract, there's a fee built in for future replacement of this facility. The problem is, the estimated cost for replacement of the facility for the last 20 years has been $60 million. So they've been paying us the equivalent of half of the facility the last 20 or so years. They're in the process of renegotiating their contract with American Water or whatever, this month, pretty much. And so we're gonna get the updated information to them for the updated cost of this facility, so Fort Leavenworth can start paying that additional cost to help cover the facility in 8 to 10 years. That won't make up the 40% of our water that we treat, so we're still gonna have to hopefully get some help from our representatives in Washington. We are at least doing what we can to start that conversation right away.
Right.
In a perfect world, looking into your crystal ball, what do you think is a realistic number that this will cost us?
So I'm, knock on wood, hoping for a $20 million DCIP grant. So that puts you at $100 million. Assuming we can find some other funding there, another 10% from federal grants. And then, so let's just say that Congress says you're SOL, and any other money we get is great. So that puts us at $80–90 million plus interest.
Do you know what our debt is right now? If not, that's okay.
No, not at the top of my head, no.
It's all right, no.
We're gonna go all through the debt.
go
We
through
will talk about debt
Beautiful.
that is funded by and supported by the CIP sales tax at the end. But that's only a portion of the city's debt, and we'll talk
Yeah.
more about that June 23rd.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll
perfect.
get more.
I just know if we were, I
It's a big
know.
question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a good question.
Cool.
okay. Let's keep moving.
This is a little bit less expensive. This is a replacement of our flush truck.
Should put that first.
No, sorry,
thing
snuck that
that's
one in.
like, okay.
It's less than
It
$1
looks so
million.
bad.
All right, whatever.
It's only $750 million.
Yeah.
This is a 2004, and so 2029, this will be 25 years old. And this is, if we have a backup, this is what's run down there to try to flush it out, to clean it out. So it's just due. That even gets smaller. One of the things we purchased back in 2023 was a Polaris Ranger. It really increases our efficiency of what we do, running the sewer lines along the railway by the river, and just taking items to work one place to another. This has really increased the efficiency of our performance out there. And so we're looking at replacing that in 2029. It'll be 6 years old at that time. And it is used every day, all day.
That is
It's
just the
really been
cutest
good.
vehicle.
Sell the old one to Nancy.
It's for 25,000.
And then in 2029, we have a picture there showing kind of the manholes along the river. You can see that we probably have a little bit of an I&I issue when the water comes up. You can look at that manhole there. And so it's programming in 200,000 to replace and reseal the manholes along the river. And then a couple trucks we have in here, just in out years in 2030, a dump truck replacement, another pickup replacement in 2030, and then a dump truck in 2031. Our dump trucks are used primarily to haul our special grit, what do we call it, sludge down the road. So our belt press and our screw press actually load these trucks up with pressed sludge, and right now we're hauling it to waste management. They get a lot of over-the-road miles. So those are the dump trucks, and then our JCB backhoe, that was purchased in 2016, and so we're looking at an out year of 2031 as a possible replacement for it. And just, and again, the out years, 2031, we're replacing a second utility vehicle that we have. And then, last item, for WPC, again, 2031, replacing plug valves throughout the plant. Again, those are 1970s vintage. And so these are typically items that would not be removed and replaced with the new plants. And so
Sure.
these are things that are just needed in our system. So for WPC, anything for water pollution control?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
If you win the lottery, let us know.
I'm sure you'll share.
There will be signs.
Becky's back up. So this is on our refuge department. Again, replacing trash trucks. As of 2026, we have a fleet of 7. We were running a fleet of 6. We're now up to 7. We don't anticipate going more than that. We just need to keep our fleet functioning. And so what we show in 27, replacing a 2015. So it'll be 12 years old. In 2028, replacing a 2018 at the 10-year cycle. And then in 2030 and 2031, replacing trucks again, trying to get on a 10-year replacement cycle. It's a very rough environment. Right now it's stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, head down the highway. It's just a repeated cycle 5 days a week. So it's a tough environment for our trucks. And then this would be the replacement of the roll-off truck, grapple ready. So it'd be a 2011 truck that would be replacing in 2029, so it'd be 18 years old at that time. So. And another topic for discussion, I think we actually have a work session coming up in June regarding this. This would be for our consolidation, our transfer station. Apparently funding is unscheduled. What we did, we hired BG Consultants as one of our on-call engineering groups to come through and evaluate the site and to come up with some concept plans for putting a smaller consolidation station on the property. They're up of Gilman Road with the possibility of expanding it or enlarging it in the future to become more of a transfer station, not just us. The numbers came back in much higher than we had originally budgeted for. And so that's what's shown in 2031 as unscheduled. So, so I think in June there's a work session on that.
All right.
No, not today.
And then the last couple items on here, the last item is our stormwater fund. Right now we fund this at, I think it's $84 a property for residential. a little bit higher for commercial and industrial. And this is to replace our failing stormwater infrastructure. We call it orange fence projects. That's the projects that all over the community that we have failures. We had another one that came in today off of Lewis Drive, about 10th and Eisenhower.
So these aren't specified like exactly which ones? Sorry.
No, it's just, it's in the budget when we need it.
Yeah.
For wherever is the most critical.
Okay,
Too many spots to list.
yeah.
You all right,
I'm
Brian?
done talking.
You're almost there. You almost made it through the whole thing.
It's all right.
Oh, man, rough.
We're good.
You did make it to the end. So it's a lot. You can take a deep breath because you made it. It's a lot to digest.
Okay.
We're here, I'm gonna pause on page 94. This is the same that you saw at the very beginning.
Ray.
Thank
Kinda-
you.
Thanks,
Guys. Okay.
This is what I call this is the classic summary page that
Okay.
we have used in the past. And so I'll walk you through it real quickly. I don't want to take a lot of time, but I do want to kind of recap on what we've talked about. As you look here, I talked about how they're funded, and they're funded using sales tax dollars. So to start out with, obviously, we don't know what we're gonna collect in sales tax in the out years. We're pretty close. We're pretty good at estimating because it's pretty linear. So we have a good idea, but even just being off a little bit makes a difference. So that will affect our calculations. 28, 29, 30, we don't know exactly what it will be, but we'll probably be close. So we feel confident that the projects you have listed in here by fund by year are doable, based on our projections. We also don't know where we'll even finish up in 26. So this is the 27 to 31 plan. So how we finish in 26 will inform where we start and what cash we'll have available for this in 27. So keeping that in mind. We're also increasing competition when we go out to bid. We're using this bonfire, this third-party platform to announce our business opportunities with the city, and we've seen some reduction in what we thought that we would spend. So that's been a real positive impact that we've had for some of these bigger projects. So, and like we've already talked about, we've been amplifying our dollars with grants, and we've had success so far, and I feel like that we're on the right, trajectory when it comes to scoring grants. So all of that will go into these future years. So the things that you see here, if we start to consider pulling something forward, like skate park lighting, for example, at this point, we'll walk through and you'll see where we end each year. But this is a plan for this year, for this 5-year group, and the plan will change each and every year. I'll kind of just draw your attention to the debt service. We talked about our overarching strategy of debt service declining and that freeing up available sales tax dollars for the CIP program. You see that three debt instruments right here on this line right here, the second line. We talk about debt here and a debt service here, and then one down here at the bottom. So Thornton Street, the Business and Technology Park, and then an aerial ladder. They're all being supported with the CIP sales tax dollars. So as those finish up, as those sunlight, then by the end of 2036, we'll no longer, as long as we're not taking on any additional debt supported by the CIP sales tax, then all of those dollars then will be free to go towards CIP sales tax. Also, we talked about the recreation, the Parks and Rec Department being more supported by ad valorem and less supported by sales tax, and we see that plan playing out here on this line right here.
Okay.
So we can skip kind of forward because the next few pages are the things that you've already seen and we've already talked about. So if you go down to page 103, you'll see in this first bucket, the capital projects fund, where we are projected to end up, and I'm almost here, right here, the bottom black line. So with the things that we have, with the items that we have in this bucket program for 2027, there's not a lot of wiggle room. In fact, there's not a lot of wiggle room in any of these years. That being said, your goals, your priorities, are what they are. important. So if we want to talk about moving something, we really need to talk about replacing it, either pushing it, further or kicking it to the right, or we're maybe unscheduling something altogether that we think is lower priority. And so these are things that, as you let these, requirements marinate tonight, think through your mind what you would replace it with. Because, again, not a lot of wiggle room. We could go down to 0, but we really wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
It wouldn't,
want to do that.
yeah, and we definitely wouldn't program. Anytime we would reach 0, or if we had a negative balance, the answer to solving that would be pulling from general reserves.
Right.
And so we'll have that conversation June 23rd.
Right.
So,
Is that the day, June 23rd, like the budget, the all-day thing?
June 23rd would be when
Really?
you first see your operating budget.
Okay, I'll watch it online.
Oh, that's your surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right, I forgot
It's
about
already
that.
gonna be there.
June 23rd.
Is that literally the day of your surgery?
No, my surgery is 5 days before that. but I can
Oh,
go
yeah.
first.
I mean, that's the plan. That's the budget calendar. It doesn't mean that things can't shift.
We can move that day around if we need to.
Wait, is that one that's at night, or you do that, can we do one during the day?
That's not the all-day meeting.
The all
you have
day,
the all-
I put the all-day meeting
The
date
all-day
on it.
budget meeting is July 13th.
July 13th.
It's in July, and I can deal with that.
13th.
That's a month.
That's all day?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a Monday.
I can handle
Those
that.
dates, do you have them right now, I can run them,
We'll send you the calendar.
Okay,
So-
cool.
or is it in here?
No, I don't think it's in here.
It would look something like this,
It's on
and
it.
it's.
Oh, yeah, I
planned.
don't have
And the
that.
reason, we have to kind of forecast it out so far, because we do have, we have some statutory dates that we have to.
Yeah.
To work around, but.
If I can't be here, I can't be here.
Can we get that, what he just showed
Yeah, we'll
me?
send you, I thought we had sent it to you. I
I
apologize. We
thought
sent it
so
to
as
you.
well.
We'll send it to you guys.
I can
Okay.
zoom in, yeah. But I should be able to be here at that. That won't be a problem.
Just a couple final points. The CIP, we do this portion first because this informs the operating budget. So what we are going to shift over to pay for our capital items, we'll work around that. So that's why, like I said, this is not the last time that you'll see these requirements. And then, yeah, that's it. On June 23rd, we will be back. But if you want to talk now about shifting requirements, if you have ideas,
I think I'd
that
rather
we want
look
to
it
talk
over.
about at this moment, or we can let it marinate.
I think I'd like to let it marinate.
Let it marinate a little bit.
The books are there.
I
If
only
you
have
the
one,
books.
yeah.
Refer to 'em.
If you have questions or need additional detail, obviously the staff will provide that for you. But we know it's a lot.
It is
It's a lot to take in.
Really, most of it was fine. There's only one thing, and you probably know what it is.
I don't. But, we approached 2027 and 2028 with intention, and that was,
No,
we
it
really
looks
tried
pretty
to
good.
focus on the operational, like the mandatory operational requirements that we needed to provide services to the city.
Yeah.
And everything else, quality of life, all of that got pushed back. So we,
Yeah, lights and parks is a minor thing.
Right.
Actually, when you look at the big picture.
Oh, yeah.
so I mean, and that even, we really pushed, we did our best to put that up to 28, because we knew how much it was important to you guys.
I know.
And so, we moved some things back to make room for that. Point being, yeah, we will absolutely, any input we get from you guys on, no, we'd rather push X up and Y back, we'll do that. But that was the approach we took to 27, was just whatever we needed to run the city.
Well, we were so short last year too, that
Yep.
we'll see how it goes this year as well.
When do we talk about the general fund stuff? Like
That'd be the 23rd.
the 23rd, okay, alright. I got you.
But a lot can happen between now and the end of the year. I mean, we could have a economic boon of some sort.
Yeah, every month we get
I
new
hope.
sales tax data. We see what that's looking like. That kind of informs where we think sales tax is going for this year. How it will every month that we get closer to the end of 26,
that's-
we'll know where we're
you're
gonna
gonna
end
go
up
to
in
the-
26.
Yep.
That's the day.
We don't get the assessments from the county until around the first week of June. So
How's
that
it looking? Is
also,
it looking good so far?
it is looking better than 2025.
Okay.
Slight
Good.
improvements. Slight improvements.
Well, thank you. I know this is a lot of work.
Any of
you.
your questions?
Good
We're
job.
here for
You
anything.
went through it very well.
Great job.
Understandable, that's
Yes.
the main thing.
No, I really do like
I was
it.
talking to you before, and be understandable, right?
Yeah.
People who are not good.
And this is the
at
small
accounting.
book. Next time it'll be the big book.
Yeah, this is the
We got you out here
little
before
book.
There's a bigger book?
You should've took that back.
Like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Is it possible to get that one in advance of the meeting?
We will get it.
You'll get it in advance.
Okay.
We get it about a week
We
ahead.
touched on it. We touched on it. That would be-
This one's not as,
Yeah,
we'll look at this.
because we
after
go
this
through
study.
page by
That
page
was the
about
first
doing a
blush
big
of
book. Hopefully, we don't necessarily
We
go
will.
through a page. Oh, we will? Oh,
You
good.
All day. It's all day, but it's good to look at, it's good, we get it a week ahead. so we
Okay,
can look at
good.
it.
So we have, okay,
Is
perfect.
there anything
That's what the
else?
all-day budget meeting is for.
Okay, I see. Gotcha.
Andrew, are you completed?
Yeah, pending any questions, issues, yes.
All
I
right.
want to ask you something afterwards, okay? Hold on, don't
Absolutely.
leave yet. Okay, anybody have anything else?
Nope.
If not, let's adjourn. All in favor?
I
I don't think I even had the count.
That's all right. Sure don't, that's all right.
Yeah.
Good practice.